It is a beautiful evening here in Pasadena. Nestled right next to the historic Rose Bowl sits Jackie Robinson Memorial Field, the site for today's CCL matchup between the Conejo Oaks and the Arroyo Seco Saints. And thanks for tuning in, everybody. Sid Iyer here alongside former infielder Riley Horn. The Saints are entering tonight's game coming off 2 wins in a row to close off their road trip up to NorCal and find themselves in second place in the CCL South Division. Meanwhile, the Oaks come to Pasadena in third place, right behind the Saints with a 7-5 record. Getting a quick few warm-up pitches here, but Riley, first view of this team, how did the Saints look early on in the season?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an incredible season so far, and the thing that really stands out is the Saints' offense. We've talked about it plenty of times throughout the entire season, but the offense has just been incredibly strong, no doubt about that. And the pitching staff, they have their on days, they have their off days, but no doubt about it, they have enough support behind them that they can get through any game.
Yeah, definitely a great offense to start the season. In fact, the last game of that NorCal trip, they scored 16 runs against the Crawdads up in NorCal. And with that, let's take a look at the starting pitcher on the mound for the Saints here this evening. It's going to be Liam Thatcher, native of Altadena, California. And in 4 starts in conference for the Glendale Community College, he had an ERA around 3.3. That fastball around 85 to 88. Had a rough outing that last time against the Conejo Oaks, in fact, not too long ago, in fact, about a week ago. Pitched 1 1/3 innings, but gave up 7 earned runs, 4 hits total given up. But I think the biggest thing to look out for, those 5 walks. And so with that being said, leadoff hitter for the Oaks coming up, it's going to be Tommy Kendlinger leading off, followed by Jax Jimenez, then Lucas Danielewicz, and we'll get you the rest of the lineup here shortly. But just about to see first pitch here in Pasadena on a nice evening. And first pitch in is going to be a fastball right down the middle for a strike. First pitch at 6:09, so 4 minutes past our scheduled time. And here we are, ready to go for this CCL matchup. Ground ball to the right side, and that's going to get through. And Kendlinger's got good speed, rounds first, and he's headed for 2. Throw in to second base, and the tag, and he is safe. Gannon Snyder with the throw from right field in to Liam Hayworth. And that's going to be a nice little double here to start off the game for the Oaks.
You know, Kendlinger, you mentioned a few pitches ago, this team has already squared off against the Oaks so far this season, twice actually. The first one they lost by a final score of 11-2. The second one they won by a final score of 8-0. Kendlinger knocked a hit in both of them and now starts things off for the Oaks with a leadoff double.
Yeah, definitely the way you want it to get going here. If you're the Oaks, now Jax Jimenez in to bat. The lefty takes a fastball up for a ball. Jimenez just completed his freshman year at Oregon. Only had 13 at-bats, but hit .231. One of those 3 hits he had was a double. Also had 2 stolen bases on the campaign. Thatcher deals, and looked like a changeup there, tailing away, swing and a miss. 1-1 the count. Jimenez in summer ball in 2024 played for the Lincoln Potters in the Pacific Empire League, and he's got a pretty significant pedigree coming out of high school. Thatcher looks back to second, and the pitch. Fastball in on the inside part of the plate, strike 2, 1-2 the count. Jimenez, 6'3", 207, a native of Rocklin, California, so up north near Sacramento. Went to Whitney High School and was the number 2 player in California coming out of high school, according to Prep Baseball Report. Pitch in from Thatcher, fastball up and swing and a miss. Just like that, Thatcher able to get the K and the first out on the board for the Saints.
Good pitch there from Thatcher. Go to that high fastball on a 1-2 count. The hitter's eyes always light up a little bit. They see a fastball up, and they think, it's kind of going to stay relatively up in that sort of eye-level area, and you think you can get a good barrel on it, but unfortunately it just rides right underneath your barrel.
Yeah, and a good at-bat there for Thatcher on the mound. And get you the defensive arrangement here for the Saints shortly, as now it's Lucas Danielewicz stepping in for the Oaks. Right-handed hitter swings and misses at an off-speed pitch, strike one. Daniel Witz, a native of River Woods, Illinois, 5'9", 190. Pitch in from Thatcher on the outside, just missed, ball one. Back on the 20th, Daniel Witz had a pretty good game, went 3 for 5 with 2 runs scored, a triple, and a stolen base against the OC Riptide. They played down at Great Park in Irvine. Off-speed pitch, fouled off at the end of the bat. Strike two, 1-2 the count. Here to Daniel Witz.
Daniel Witz, so far this season, 15 for 41. He's got a 366 average this summer. One of only 2 players throughout this Oaks lineup to be batting above 300.
Definitely a very much a lineup that could use some offensive production early. Thatcher, off-speed pitch, grounded to the right side. It looks like it bounced foul. Might have taken a funny bounce off of the dirt there on the chalk. That's Jack Little at first base, retrieving that ball. So we're going to reset here. Still 1-2 the count, just getting started here in Pasadena. Nothing game. 1 out here in the top of the first. Liam Thatcher on the mound, facing Lucas Daniel Witz, who would love to get the Oaks on the board here early. Thatcher sets at the belt, looks to second. And the pitch. Fastball fouled off to the right side. That fastball coming in at 88 miles per hour. That's kind of the upper range of what you're going to see from Thatcher on the mound. And at this point, if you're Daniel Witz at the plate, certainly that right side of the infield is very open.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Runner on second. You get that second baseman to pinch over to hold him on, and that right side immediately opens up. And Little over there on first playing about a step and a half away from the line, so that gap is wide open.
Yeah, very much so. A wide gap the right side of the infield. Meanwhile, outfield playing at standard depth, but that right center gap is open. 1-2 the count, 1 out here in the first. Oh, and that one looks like it might have gotten Daniel Witz. Actually, might have been a foul ball, looks like. Might have gotten him on maybe the knob of the bat.
Yeah, it looked like probably most likely the knob of the bat. I mean, it looked like it got somewhere around the hands area. Not quite sure if it got the knob or if it got just above the hands. But either way, no reaction there out of Daniel Witz definitely means it didn't hit him.
Yeah, and good thing, certainly, for his hand. So back to 1-2 the count. Thatcher keeping an eye on that runner in the pitch. Curveball hit to the right side, and Freer able to make the 4-3 put out. That's a big second out for the Saints. Now 2 outs in the inning.
And Daniel Witz there, he tried to use that wide open gap, just unfortunately didn't get enough behind it. Freer definitely showing off the range there, going way to his left, making the play. And, you know, you have to appreciate the approach from Daniel Witz trying to go that way.
Absolutely. And now brings up the heart of this order, Devin Wilkes. Fastball, first pitch swing, an 87 on the outside part of the plate, fouled back. Now it's 0-1 the count. Now Wilkes, very young player. He's committed to play at Cal State Bakersfield in the class of 2029 by way of Pacifica High School in Oxnard. Fastball on the outside, fouled back. Now coming into tonight's game for the Oaks, he is hitting .250. However, back in high school was voted Player of the Year by the Ventura County Baseball Coaches Association, won All-County. Also hit .480 with 11 home runs. Fastball up, taken for a ball. 1-2 the count. But yeah, to hit .480 with 11 home runs and a slugging percentage of .950. I mean, that's some offensive production. Runner on third, 2 outs, Thatcher. And this ball's popped up. Thatcher around the mound, and no one's going to get it. Seemed like Thatcher thought someone was going to call him off, and that ball just dropped in the infield. And just like that, the Oaks are on the board, 1-0.
And, you know, it might have also had something to do with a little bit of sun issues. That sun goes down directly behind home plate here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field in Pasadena. Not quite completely gone yet. Shadows are starting to emerge on the field, but that sun is right there in the eyes of Thatcher. Yeah,
and very much not the way the Saints wanted to start this game on the mound. Now a quick 1-0 lead for the Oaks. Now a runner on first in Devin Wilkes. Curveball in there for a strike on Tyler Hawley, the 5-hitter for the Oaks here tonight, a native of Laverne, California. Just completed his sophomore year at Cal State Fullerton. For the Titans, he actually didn't appear in any games this past season. Off speed, and that's away for 1-1. That's J.J. Kennett behind the plate for the Saints. Calling the pitches there. Meanwhile, Liam Thatcher on the mound. Of course, we referenced his control issues in his last start against the Oaks. Would certainly love to keep that pitch count low. Fastball on the inside. And they're going to check to the first base umpire, who says he went. Now it's 1-2. Hawley for the Oaks this season, hitting .278 coming into this game, has 11 RBIs. Back during his freshman year at Fullerton, played in 20 games and started 13 of them, but only hit around 100. Off-speed pitch, well away. Looks like he might have gotten a little ahead of himself and flew open there on the mound. 2-2 the count, so twos all around. Runner on first. Now the Saints would love to get out of this inning with either a ground ball or a strikeout here in the first inning. Fastball hit down the right field line, and this one is going to be foul. So we'll reset here, 2-2 the count. So deuces all around. And one more time, runner on first with 2 outs. Thatcher in the stretch. Has gone to that off-speed pitch several times. Fastball, and that's hit down the right field line and just foul, maybe by a couple of feet, but that would have been trouble.
Yeah, and again, going the other way, it's clear to see the approach here of the Oaks. Hawley just trying to go barrel to ball there on that one. Wasn't trying to do too much, but we saw a similar thing with Danielwitz a few at-bats ago. Tried to go the other way, just couldn't get enough behind it to squeak it through the infield.
Very much a approach on the mound against the relatively soft-throwing right-handed pitcher in Liam Thatcher. One more time, 2-2 the count. Hit to the right side, and Freer misses it. Bounces off of his glove, and he's got no play. So now runners on first and second. The Oaks are continuing a first inning that's gone quite well for them.
Yeah, so far just stringing together a little bit of offense. It hasn't necessarily been dominant or overpowering offense, but it's been just enough to put the pressure on the Saints, get at least one run across, and put another in scoring position.
Yeah, and certainly good offensive production here from the top of their lineup, even if it was due to that mistake by Thatcher on the mound here on that pop-up. That brings up Jacob Galloway, the left-handed hitter. First pitch swinging to the right side. Little gets it, throws it over to Thatcher, who is covering the bag, and that will end the inning. But not before the Conejo Oaks strike first. 1 run on 2 hits, and they left 2 runners on here. Now it's for the Saints' chance to swing. 1-0 here in Pasadena. Back here in Pasadena at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. 1-0 game already. Conejo Oaks up here, well, rather on the field, and the Saints getting their first swings against a pitcher in Charlie Decker, 5'9", 145, and attends the University of Puget Sound, facing Lane Hayworth here in the bottom of the first. First pitch swinging, and this ball's hit to left center field, relatively deep. And Kendlinger, the center fielder, makes the catch, first out of the inning. And with this, let's get you the defense here for the Conejo Oaks. That's going to be Jack Jimenez in left, Tommy Kendlinger, who made that catch, and Daniel Witz in right, Jonah Dawson, Brady Hewitt, and then Ethan Gonzalez and Tyler Hawley on the right side of the infield, and Jacob Galloway in the squat behind home plate. That brings up Trotter and Wright. Playing shortstop here for the Saints. One out, and would love to get on here. First pitch in there for a strike at 83 miles per hour.
If we flash back to the last time that the Oaks and the Saints squared off, Decker was on the mound. You look at the final line, 4 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks.
Yeah, this ball hit down the left field line, but this is going to stay up for Jimenez, who makes the catch down the left field line for a quick 2 outs. But you were saying there about that pitcher on the mound?
Yeah, to finish that sentence, and 7 strikeouts through those 4 innings, 5 of which came through the first 2 innings. Decker went 6 up, 6 down to start the game off with 5 strikeouts. The only man to not strike out in those 6 at-bats was the man who just flew out, Trotter Enright.
Yeah, very impressive outing on the mound. And now here facing the 3-hitter in Jack Little. Takes a pitch on the outside for a ball. Now Jack Little, native of Katy, Texas, transferred to Baylor from Wichita State. Just finished his redshirt sophomore year in the Big 12. First pitch swinging. Chopper down the left side, and he's not going to be able to get him. So a quick little chopper here on the second pitch of the at-bat, and Jonah Dawson not even giving off a throw there, so an infield single.
Jack Little showing off the speed. He had 2 hits in both of the other games against the Oaks. Starts things off now with an infield single for the Saints, who still chase 1, looking to get that one back.
Yeah, and I mean, that was a very quick, could have potentially, that was only 4 pitches there in that inning so far, so it would have been a very quick first inning for the Saints, but that brings up Jacob Freer, who's playing second base for the Saints here this evening. First pitch inside at 82 miles per hour, ball 1. Now Freer, the left-handed hitter, had a couple of pretty good games earlier in this summer season. A native of Bellevue, Washington, currently attends Azusa Pacific. He's in the SCIAC Conference. Swing and a hard-hit ground ball to short, bad hop, but gets the force out at second. That's Brady Hewitt to Ethan Gonzalez to end the inning. So after 1 full, the Saints getting 1 single there, but nothing on the board. 1-0 Oaks. Top of the second here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field, 1-0. Conejo Oaks find themselves up early, and we'll get you the defense here for the Saints. As presented by manager Aaron Milam, Liam Hayworth in left, Noah Williams in center, Gannon Snyder in right. Left side of the infield is Jax Ryan and right, then Jacob Freer, Jack Little, and behind the plate, J.J. Kennett. Now here at the top of the second, just about to get going here in the top half of this inning, and it's going to be Brady Hewitt, who is a local guy, hometown of Simi Valley. And he's coming in here. First pitch swinging, fastball straight back at 82 miles per hour. Strike one. Hewitt, who currently is attending Oregon, committed back in 2023 while at Royal High School in Simi Valley, where he graduated this year. Breaking ball to the left side, and Ryan tips off his glove and ends up in left field, and that's going to be likely. We'll see if that's called a single or an E5, but yet another leadoff runner on for the Oaks.
And depending on the official scoring of that one, could potentially be the second error in just 2 innings now for the Saints. We've seen it is officially goes down as an error, but we've seen some strength out of the Saints defense throughout this past weekend up in Northern California. But early on today, not really showing that and continuing that.
Yeah, certainly a bit of a messy start to this game defensively as Jonah Dawson fouls that ball straight back. And so far through 1 inning pitched, now certainly Liam Thatcher has been pounding the zone. Fastball up in the zone, swinging, strike 2 on on Jonah Dawson, who's a native of San Diego, California. Just completed his sophomore year at Cal Lutheran, where Conejo Oaks, where they play at Sparky Anderson Field, majoring in sports management. Foul ball off to the right side. So we'll reset here on this 0-2 count. This past season at Cal Lutheran U, he had a pretty good season, Dawson, that is. He batted .303, had 7 doubles and 2 triples. Runner on first, the pitch, and he got him. Fastball down at the knees, and that's a big first out for Thatcher on the mound.
Yeah, second strikeout of the outing so far, and a good position now just to ground ball away, get that double play, and get back into the dugout.
Yeah, that first strikeout coming against the 2-hitter Jax Jimenez. Now here another one against Dawson. Now the 9-hitter Ethan Gonzalez coming up. Thatcher looking to get a ground ball. Fastball in there at the knees, strike 1. Gonzalez, a native of Moore Park, California, 6 feet tall, 175, currently attends Cal State Los Angeles, so a local kid. Fastball left kind of in the middle of the plate, but fouled off to the right side. And so far, Thatcher on the mound has not been super precise with his location. A lot of these pitches getting the heart of the plate.
Yeah, and it's kind of that happy medium between being in the zone but not being too far into the zone that you're leaving it too fat for the hitters.
Absolutely, and with that fastball going up, but Gonzalez swinging, and that's going to be another strikeout, second in a row. So Gonzalez is retired, 2 outs in this inning.
And you know, that sort of happy medium that we were just discussing, he kind of showed off in the start against the Foresters. That game still technically in progress, hasn't officially ended after the lights turned off here, and they will have to continue on another date. But he went 2 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk to 3 strikeouts.
Yeah, it certainly was a weird game there as Tommy Kendlinger, back to the top of the order, steps in and takes a first pitch strike. But with the way the stadium works here is that once the time hits 10 p.m., the lights turn off, and you got to continue that game another day. Just a fastball up that is popped up, and Freer can't see it. This ball's headed, and it's going to drop. Williams retrieves it in shallow center field. And that runner advances all the way to third base. And just like that, runners on first and third, and I think it really is the sun that seems to be affecting these Saints fielders in particular.
Yeah, and the ironic part is Jacob Freer has sunglasses, but he's wearing them on his hat. He decided not to put them on his eyes, and he's wearing them up above the bill.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing about looking cool, but there's another about protecting those ojos, as we like to call them. And so a quick little mound visit here from J.J. Kennett to talk to Liam Thatcher, who has thrown quite a few pitches at this point. He's up to 31 pitches, had 20 in the first inning, threw 15 strikes, and still would love to get out of this inning with that pitch count relatively intact as Throws in a fastball here to Jax Jimenez on the outside for a ball. Jimenez back in the first inning, struck out on a 1-2 count. Runner bluffs, and a pop-up to the left side. Jax Ryan over to the left, and he's not going to get it, but that ball actually landed back in fieldable territory, and it looks like he just misjudged it.
Yeah, a little bit of a misread. Kind of read the depth short by a couple feet or so. It kept going over his head, but yeah, definitely landed in playable territory.
So on the mound, Liam Thatcher is going to have to get 4 outs this inning. Certainly turning into a bit of a stressful one. Still with that runner on first base. Pitch in, a running fastball for a strike on that swing and a miss, 1-2. 87 miles per hour on that release. So 1-2 the count, runner on first and third, here with 2 outs. Runner goes, and swing and a miss, and that's it for the Oaks this inning. So Liam Thatcher able to get out of this inning, collects 2 strikeouts, but along with 1 error for the Saints, score still remains 1-0 Oaks.
All right, hello and welcome everyone live from Jackie Robinson Field here in Pasadena. Evan Davis joined alongside Adam Beck, and it's the home opener for the Arroyo Seco Saints. Looks like it will hit into the gap. Yes, it will, and it'll score a run off the glove of Pollock. That will score 2. It's quickly 4-0 at the top of the first inning for the Oaks. 3-1 offering, low and away for ball 4, and that will bring in the first run of the game. It's outside, ball 4. Fisher stumbling on the mound, and the Saints just finding any way possible to get some runs, and they've now walked in 2 with the Saints as a pass ball gets away. 5-2 lead for the Oaks. 2-1 offering, that one down the third base. Beltowski will fire that one across. And 1 out now, but the runners advance to now be 5-3. First and second as they connect again.
Back here in the bottom of the second here in Pasadena, 1-0 to score. The Oaks find themselves up ahead here in the early going. And certainly it's been a story about aggressive hitting early on. The Saints went down in that inning really quickly. In fact, it was 7 pitches, only 3 balls thrown by Charlie Decker in that inning, as it's Jax Ryan here to lead off the inning. Third baseman for the Saints steps in from the right side as he takes a fastball up, and that's going to be a ball. So 1-0 the count. Ryan currently attending Arizona State. Had a pretty good season this past year, hit .281. Fastball on the outside part at 83 miles per hour. 1-1 the count. And on the mound, I mean, certainly Decker's not going to beat you at speed, but really kind of that lefty specialist type of pitcher. Pitching out of the stretch exclusively. As this ball's way outside, but quite a bit of natural movement. That one in at 80 miles per hour, maybe a changeup.
Yeah, definitely something perhaps a little bit softer, but you know, you mentioned a couple pitches ago, Sid, the aggressive swinging. And in the bottom of the first for the Saints, it was a fly-out single ground out. And, you know, it's good to see that the bats are swinging and contact is being made as opposed to the last time they faced Charlie Decker where it was 6 up, 6 down with 5 strikeouts.
Yeah, I mean, certainly you'd love to put that ball in play instead of being struck out, but he's going to take ball 4 here, and that's going to be Jax Ryan, the third baseman. And he's going to find himself on here with no outs.
Yeah, and a great way to start. You're chasing one. You're trying to get that one back. You still have a lot of ball game left to play, but getting that leadoff man on, always so important.
So no outs in the inning. That's going to be Jax Ryan on first base, who is the third baseman for the Saints. And that brings up Cody Turner, who is the DH tonight for the Saints, a left-handed hitter with a big beard in the batter's box. First pitch in here, an off-speed pitch on the outside for a strike.
Yeah, that beard definitely giving off some, like, Jason Worth type of vibes.
Absolutely.
Remember him a little while ago in the MLB.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That was a mean beard. Definitely get a bird stuck in that, as this is an off-speed pitch fouled off to the left side. Quick 0-2 count on Turner, who previously was at Antelope Valley, a D1 junior college, but at Antelope, he was a career .459 hitter over 2 seasons. This past season, he hit 11 home runs. So a lot of power in that left-handed batter's box at the moment. Pitch on the outside, strike 3. So Decker able to paint that corner, and just like that, Cody Turner is retired.
Yeah, tough start to make your Saints summer debut going down looking, but still a lot of summer left and a good opportunity to bounce back in the rest of this game as well.
Yeah, certainly on the mound, Decker doing a good job of just getting ahead on a lot of these hitters and keeping that pitch count very low. That brings up the 7-hitter, J.J. Kennett, right-handed hitter, and the catcher for the Saints. Pitch in, and he hits this ball pretty well to the right side. Line drive to Lucas Danielwitz, who makes the play. Throw in from right field into Tyler Hawley at first to try and get the double play, but no dice. So on one pitch, J.J. Kennett is retired. Just like that, now we are at the 8-hitter in the lineup.
And you know, you mentioned that low pitch count. Back at Puget Sound, Decker only averaged a pitch and a half per batter faced. 1.6 pitches to be exact, but still definitely a guy who works efficiently and works to get to contact.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible and certainly efficient as Noah Williams steps in. Noah Williams, the 8-hitter here for the Saints and playing center field. And that was a breaking ball low for a ball. Williams, a native of Carson, California, so just down the street. Goes to Colorado State Pueblo. Runner on the move and no throw. So Jax Ryan in for a stolen base on that swing and a miss.
And now Williams back in the lineup for the first time since June 11th. Took a week or two off to try and recover. We're still unsure of what exactly happened that took him out of the lineup, but nonetheless, he's back and looking forward to his return.
Yeah, he might have stubbed his toe a little bit, sliding into third base on a stolen base attempt several games ago. As he takes a fastball in for a strike, and sometimes it's the weirdest injuries that'll get you. I mean, certainly looked fine, but maybe just a little bit funny on that slide in to third base. Runner on second. In Jax Ryan, who's bouncing around a little bit there. Pitch down and away. That Williams spoils off to the right side. So we'll reset here. Still at 1-2 the count. 2 outs in the inning, so runner in scoring position. Williams would love to get him in. He had a good season at Colorado State Pueblo. He hit .374. Set at the belt and the pitch. Off-speed pitch, and he got him. Decker able to get the K and strand that runner at second base. And just like that, the Saints spoil another opportunity to get a run in. Still 1-0 as we head into the third inning. Back here in Pasadena for the top of the third, and a quick pitching change. Liam Thatcher is out. Now the DH, Cody Turner, who actually hit in that last half inning, is now on the mound for the Saints. A very interesting two-way guy at Antelope Valley.
Yeah, Antelope Valley, lefty-lefty two-way guy. He had a really strong offensive 2 years. On the pitching side, he had a career 5.02 ERA, an 8-6 record. He had 19 games started out of his 26 total appearances for a total of 118 and a third innings pitched, in which he gave up 128 hits, 66 earned runs, and 77 walks to 158 strikeouts. So it'll be interesting stuff to see him as he unfolds, just getting his Saints debut here today, but throughout the rest of the season, offensively and on the pitching.
Yeah, and certainly giving this Oaks lineup a reason to fear the Beard, as that Beard makes it yet another appearance here on the mound. And you referenced how, you know, him being a two-way guy in that ERA around 5 over the past 2 seasons, but, I mean, those strikeout numbers are pretty intimidating, and certainly I guess that maybe tells you that, hey, he's got good stuff, but maybe just needs to locate it better and just prevent those pitches from maybe locating them right down the middle of the plate perhaps. So with that, we're going to start the top of the third here with Lucas Danielwitz stepping in. Left-handed pitcher up in Cody Turner. First pitch in, 89-mile-per-hour fastball. Looks like it was just outside for a ball. So I want to know the count on Danielwitz. Another fastball in at the letters at 90 for a strike. So evens the count back at 1-1. Now on the mound, he's got a very interesting glove. It's maybe two-tone with a little bit of green in it. Fastball up, 1-1. And does that kind of bother you on the mound when you're a hitter and you see a two-tone glove?
It's not necessarily the two-toneness of the glove. It's more so the color of the glove. You know, lighter colored gloves are obviously a little harder to see the ball out of. So with Turner's glove, it's got a little bit of that paleness to it. Might be a little bit tougher for a hitter.
Yeah, I definitely can imagine that. That's why often you'll see, at least I remember there were rules in the MLB back in the day where you couldn't have too light colored of gloves. Now it seems like the MLB a little bit more lenient as this ball's fouled into the audience here, the crowd, and a fan able to pick up that ball without having to move. How about that? She tosses that ball off to a fan, but I think it actually hit the back of another fan as this ball's fouled off to the right side. So some drama on the field, but a hit by, what is that, a hit by audience member, a hit by crowd member?
We've, you know, our last time on the call together, Sid, we kind of established the hit by foul ball type of play. This one, I don't even know what you would call that, hit by fan, I don't know.
Yeah, an HBF. As Turner throws this ball down and in, that's going to be ball 4 as this one heads to the backstop. J.J. Kennett not able to get a glove on this one. So a runner on first on the free pass to Lucas Danielwitz. He certainly will, yet again for the Oaks, another leadoff runner on.
Yeah, and Danielwitz, a speed threat, right fielder, and when that ball got behind the backstop and Kennett, he was checking back, and he thought about legging it out, trying to go for 2 on the pass ball.
And we'll see if he's a threat here to run. Turner, deliberate motion to the plate. This ball is going to be a fastball at 90, down in the dirt for a ball. So want to know the count on Devin Wilkes, who back in the first inning was able to reach base. He's the DH and the 4-hitter here with that open stance. He squares to bunt, and an off-speed pitch on the outside part of the plate, ball 2. 2-0 the count, and Turner on the mound really just trying to find the zone.
Yeah, Wilkes was the one with that weird pop fly on the infield that fell in between the pitcher and the third baseman. He got an RBI for that one as well, the only run today.
Yeah, and he'll take that RBI certainly on a really weird play as he squared around to bunt here but couldn't quite get it down on a fastball at 88. So back here at 2-1 the count, continuously trying to square to put down the sac bunt. Meanwhile, at third base, Jax Ryan still playing deep. No square this time, and ball up and away. 3-1 the count. Wilkes, as we talked about, certainly a very accomplished player back at Pacifica High School in Oxnard. Has a 7.3 60 time. Pitch in on the outside, and yet another walk. And, I mean, look, it's just another way to get runners on, and certainly if you're the Oaks, you love this.
Yeah, no doubt about that. They option to try and manufacture that run by putting on the bunt sign for Wilkes. Once he got into a hitter's count, they let him swing away, but it wouldn't matter ultimately as he draws first base for free.
Yeah, with that, we're going to see Aaron Traylor, the pitching coach for the Saints, have a little stroll here to the pitcher's mound, and the whole infield's going to have a little Zoom conference here as they're going to talk about strategy here with runners on first and second. Certainly not the way you wanted this inning to start. And so what do you think Traylor is going to be talking here to Turner on the mound in his first outing?
Yeah, it's obviously the pitching coach and not the head coach, so it's not going to be the end of his day, but it's kind of that warning of, hey, you kind of got to get back into the zone and start, manufacturing, getting these outs a little bit easier. Let your defense work. You'd rather not surrender the free passes, and if anything, you want to make the Oaks earn it by getting base hits. You can't let them on for free, so you got to just get back into the zone.
Yeah, and certainly if you're Turner on the mound, that's exactly what you want. Has not found the zone particularly well at this point. It actually looks like that's going to be Matt Stone, who actually was the pitching coach, who headed out to the mound there for that mound visit. So here back, no outs, runners on first and second. Now Tyler Hawley stepping in. Had a single back in the first inning. He squares around and gets that bunt down. Ryan on the run, throws to first, makes the play. Good defense, good defensive really play there by the Saints. But that advances both runners into scoring position with one out.
Yeah, good play by Ryan over at third. We saw that a couple times over this past weekend in Northern California. He made some really athletic plays out in the infield, but better execution by the Oaks. Being able to get that one down by Hawley, who's a first baseman, not really the guy you would expect to lay down a bunt, but puts two in scoring position with one out.
And that brings up Jacob Holloway, catcher here in the 6th hole. 3-1 put out last time in his first at-bat as the infield is in on that curveball taken for a strike on the top of the zone. That breaking ball coming in at 76 miles per hour. Now Galloway, as we mentioned, he was the last out of that first inning. Pretty small guy as well, 5'10", 185. Turner, the pitch on the outside for a ball. So 1-1 the count. Now Galloway at the plate just completed his junior season at Texas A&M. But I believe you mentioned that he's going to have his senior year at Oregon State.
Yes, just about 3 days ago, announced that he's transferring into the Beavers program.
Certainly has played for a lot of good programs as that ball gets into right field. So the infield in does not prevent that run for scoring. That's going to be Lucas Danielwitz who comes around to score. Devin Wilkes over to third base. And just like that, a 2-0 ball game for the Oaks.
Yeah, that one, Wilkes potentially could have scored had he been running the entire way, but on a line drive, infield in, you definitely have to freeze, make sure that ball is not caught, and then you can advance. So good base running there by Wilkes.
That brings runners at first and third here. Devin Wilkes at third. Jacob Galloway, who just had that RBI single on first. Double play depth up the middle for the Saints. That's Enright and Freer. And a first pitch ball to Brady Hewitt, who back in the second inning reached base on an error at third base by Jax Ryan on a ground ball. So certainly defense coming to bite the Saints here early on. Another fastball in here at the belt. Doesn't get the call this time. Home plate umpire being a little stingy there. So 1-1 the count. Turner sets. Fastball challenge right down the middle at 87 miles per hour. Swing and a miss. So back to 2-1 the count now. Hewitt, as we mentioned, who is going to be playing at Oregon this upcoming season, will be his freshman year. Yet another pitch close, but no dice. So that's going to be ball 3. So 3-1 the count. 2-0 game here in Pasadena. Oaks up by 2. Scored 1 in the first and 1 here in the top of the third. Swing, and this ball is just going to be a blooper in foul territory, and Jack Little makes the catch. Big second out here for the Saints.
Big second out, especially with runners on the corners when he had one out. The Oaks definitely could have gone into some sort of first and third play, try and score another run. But with a lefty on the mound in Turner, it kind of makes that a little bit more difficult, but getting that out is big.
Certainly a big out for Turner on the mound, who has struggled to find the zone. That brings up Jonah Dawson. Takes a first pitch up for a ball. And just to remind you, Devin Wilkes at third, Jacob Galloway at first, And Jonah Dawson up at the plate. Currently playing second base for the Oaks. He had that strikeout swinging back in the second inning. Crouched in the batter's box, horizontal bat. Turner looks to first dramatically. And a foul ball down the left side, perhaps off the end of the bat. And one thing to mention is that this is a wood bat league, so certainly you don't see maybe the exit velocity off the bat that you see at the college level, but might be a little bit of an impact to these hitters.
Yeah, no doubt about that. The difference in material makes a huge difference in the result of the hit.
Pitch in by Turner in the dirt, and they're going to say he went. So a called strike on that swing by Dawson at the plate. Meanwhile, Galloway, the runner at first, advances to second base. So now Galloway at second, Wilkes at third. Two runners in scoring position here with a 1-2 count. 2 outs in the inning. Outfield playing standard, meanwhile infield as well. Nobody covering second. And a curveball perfectly placed, and strike 3. Finally able to get out of the inning. Second strikeout for Jonah Dawson at the plate. And meanwhile, the Oaks tagged one more run. It's 2-0 here in the early going. Shadows coming over Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. Bottom of the third inning here, and the Saints finding themselves down. But they've got 9, 1, and 2 coming up in this inning, starting off with Gannon Snyder, then Lane Hayworth, then Trotter Enright. That's where we're going to see this inning from the Arroyo Seco Saints. So meanwhile, Gannon Snyder, he's going to step in here. Right-handed batter, first at bat of the day. Decker, first pitch in, 82 miles per hour, strike on the outside corner, and he has been incredibly efficient.
Yeah, no doubt about that. He's a sort of pitch-to-contact type lefty, but he can definitely run up the strikeout numbers. We saw that in his last outing, and so far he has 2 today.
And doing a very good job of that, as that ball is low for a ball, 1-1. And really, as we talked about earlier, doing it not with a lot of velocity. I mean, none of these fastballs are going above 87 or so, and certainly very small on the mound, so doesn't have a lot of vertical plane to work off of. Swing and a miss. So back to 1-1 the count. Now Snyder, who attends Wichita State, and he's actually teammates with Lane Hayworth, who is up next, in fact. Native of St. Louis, Missouri, 6'2", 215 pounds. Pitch in on the outside, 2-2 the count. His sophomore year hit .252 at Wichita State for the Shockers. Played in 39 games, so definitely saw a lot of playing time for them. Infield shaded for the pull. Brady Hewitt, the shortstop. Over to the left as he pulls it exactly into that shift. Jonah Dawson throws it over to first. And a quick 5-3 putout for the Oaks.
And Decker staying effective on the mound. Gets another ground out. He's only surrendered 1 hit so far today, and that one was a chopped infield single that was beat out by Jack Little.
Yeah, that was the third batter of the game, with Little being the 3-hitter. Certainly has had the Saints number early on. Saints, of course, would love to turn that goose egg into a number in the run column, as it's going to be the top of the lineup here. Lane Hayworth stepping in. Curveball in there for a strike. Certainly doing a good job of getting ahead of a lot of these hitters. Hayworth back in the first inning, flew out to center field. Pitch in, one more of those off-speed pitches. Look like perhaps a slider there at 76 miles per hour for a strike. So 0-2 the count, had 8 inches of horizontal break. So that lefty-lefty matchup certainly proving to be working well. And swing and a miss. Looked like a curveball there. And a quick 3-pitch see ya on the mound for the Oaks.
Yeah, again, Decker staying extremely efficient. Last time the Saints faced Decker, they went 6 up, 6 down through the first 2 frames. But in the third inning against Decker, they ended up punching 3 runs. Obviously trying to do the same here tonight, this time trailing by 2, but now with 2 outs in the third inning.
Trying to muster up anything against a very effective Decker on the mound. First pitch swinging is Trotter Enright, and this one's going to fall. And that's going to be a nice, easy single. Enright stopping at first base. So first pitch single here with 2 outs.
Yeah, we mentioned the effectiveness of Decker, but the effectiveness of Enright in that at-bat, going up there, first pitch, putting a pure swing on it, nice line drive into the gap, but not deep enough to get extra bases, but very efficient at-bat right there.
Yeah, and a good approach by Enright. At first at-bat, he hit a ball also to the outfield, but to the left side, in fact. So not afraid to use the whole field, but got a good first pitch swinging there and able to secure a single to bring up Jack Little, number 11, and the first baseman for the Saints. First pitch swinging, hits the ball pretty decently well to left center field. Kendlinger ranges over and makes the catch. So a quick third out to this inning here, and score remains exactly where it was. 2-0 Conejo Oaks. Back here in Pasadena, new pitcher, and we'll get that info to you in a second, but a 2-0 game for the Oaks, and quite a lot of parallels to the last time the Saints faced the Oaks.
Yeah, so far this season, the Saints and the Oaks have squared off twice. First one, the Oaks took it down 11-2. Second time, the Saints shut the Oaks out and won 8-0. But in that first game that the Oaks took down, they had a similar score to what we have today. They led by 2 after the third inning. They would end up holding that lead the rest of the game, punch a couple more, and end up taking it down 11-2.
Yeah, it ended up being an 11-2 victory, as you mentioned, and certainly the Saints would love to not repeat that type of game here this evening as the Shadows come over the field, and it's going to be a new pitcher for the Saints, number 55, Brady Nelson. Native of Oro Valley, Arizona, 6'2", 195, and attends St. Cloud University. And we're going to see him pitch here. Has had a couple of outings so far for the Saints.
Yeah, the St. Cloud State Huskies pitched 9 innings across 3 appearances. He's gone 3 flat in every single one of them. Yet to give up a run, 0 runs given up, but he's given up 8 hits, and he's recorded 8 strikeouts as well.
Yeah, it's 8 strikeouts in 9 innings pitched. Very interesting that you mentioned that he has thrown 3 innings exactly every outing, and certainly we wonder if that's maybe a pitch count consideration or an innings count consideration here at the Summer League season level. So he's going to face some batters here to start this inning, and He's going to be facing 9-1-2. It's going to be Ethan Gonzalez here leading off for the Oaks. Gonzalez at the plate, struck out back in the second inning. Right-handed hitter. First pitch, chopper over to third base, and a hop by Jax Ryan, and it tips off of his glove. Trotter Enright able to back up the play. And that's the second ground ball to Jax Ryan where it tipped off of his glove.
Yeah, that one going to go down for a hit. That high chop kind of took that second hop acceleration over his head. An unfortunate break there for the Saints, allowing the leadoff man on, even though you get kind of that weak contact.
Yeah, back to the top of the order here. It's Tommy Kendlinger up to hit. He's had a pretty good game so far. A double back in the first and a single in the second. So 2 for 2 so far. Fastball down at 87 miles per hour. Ball 1. Middle infield in double play depth. And meanwhile, the shadows, as you can see on your monitor, are starting to come over the pitcher's mound. Might make visibility a little bit more difficult for these hitters. Set at the rubber and the pitch. Ground ball to shortstop. Double play ball. Underhands to second. The throw back to first, and he got him. A 6-4-3 double play. Enright to Freer to Little. And that's a good way of getting 2 outs there for the Twin Killing.
Absolutely. Great way to bounce back by Nelson there. Gave up that single to start things off, but he still kind of got weak contact on it. But then it gets even more weak contact on a tailor-made double play.
That's a good way to certainly feel a little bit more comfortable on the mound if you, well, certainly are any Saints pitcher at the moment against a pretty aggressive lineup here for the Oaks, as it's going to be Jax Jimenez, who fouls one off. 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts swinging back in the first and second inning. Jimenez, as we mentioned, just completed his freshman year at Oregon, native of Rocklin, California. Fastball up, and that's going to be a ball. So 1-1 the count on Jimenez. Now, he was the number 14th ranked shortstop and 78th overall in California, according to Perfect Game. So definitely had a pedigree coming out of high school. Pitch, and a fastball fouled straight back, 89 miles per hour. And you even see as he gets that ball back on the mound, he's shielding his eyes. I mean, certainly you can see how that sun is affecting this defense.
Yeah, the shadows affect everybody, the pitcher, the hitter, and the defense especially. That ball comes off the bat and can be dangerous.
Pitch on the outside, just misses the plate, 2-2. So deuces all around. 2 outs in the inning. 2-0 the score, still here with the Oaks up top. Infield and outfield playing at standard positioning. Nelson shakes off. Gets the pitch he likes. Brings his hands over his head and the pitch, and a perfectly placed off-speed pitch. 73 miles per hour on that curveball, and 17 inches of break to get the strikeout. So all in all, a pretty successful inning for Nelson on the mound, able to get 2 outs courtesy of that double play and the K on Jimenez. Still 2-0 Oaks.
All right, hello and welcome everyone live from Jackie Robinson Field here in Pasadena. Evan Davis joined alongside Adam Beck, and it's the home opener for the Arroyo Seco Saints. Looks like it will hit into the gap. Yes, it will, and it'll score a run off the glove of Pollock. That will score 2. It's quickly 4-0 at the top of the first inning for the Oaks. 3-1 offering, low and away for ball 4, and that will bring in the first run of the game. It's outside, ball 4. Fisher stumbling off the mound, and the Saints just finding any way possible to get some runs, and they've now walked in 2. With the Saints as a pass ball gets away. 5-2 lead for the Oaks. 2-1 offering, that one down the third base. Beltowski will fire that one across. And 1 out now, but the runners advance to now be 5-3. And first and second as they connect again. Carrillo did get a great.
Back here in Pasadena, bottom of the 4th, still a 2-0 game. That's going to be Jacob Freer, the 4-hitter. It's going to be 4-5-6 for the Saints coming up to bat. And we're going to start off with Jacob Freer facing off against a very good pitcher in Charlie Decker, who has been carving up this lineup. And he continues here into the 4th inning. First pitch in, a off-speed pitch on the inside part of the plate. Strike 1. Freer back in the 1st inning, grounded out 6-4. So to that shortstop, Brady Hewitt. To end the 1st inning, swing and a miss. 79 miles per hour. Looked like a changeup there. 0-2 the count on Jacob Freer. Back on Tuesday's 8-0 win over the Conejo Oaks, had 3 hits, 2 runs, and an RBI, as this ball dribbled to the right side for a foul ball. Certainly has been a pretty briskly played game so far. I mean, 2-0 game, but Decker's pitch count very low at this point, and certainly something he'd want to continue.
Yeah, and Decker, his last time out, went in even 4 innings against the Saints. So back in for his 4th inning of work, looking to do the same, but might even extend with his efficiency.
0-2 count, grounded to the right side, and that's going to get through past Ethan Gonzalez, who was playing for the pull. So a leadoff single for Jacob Freer, and the Saints able to get that leadoff runner on.
Good 2-strike piece of hitting there. Wasn't his best swing, but got enough barrel on it to squeeze it through the infield. Just, defensive hitting at its best. Sometimes it's better to play defense on offense.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way of putting it. Especially with that 2-strike count, you just want to put that ball in play, and certainly with that sun being a bit of a consideration here, definitely pays to put the ball in play. And that brings up Jax Ryan, the 3rd baseman for the Saints. First pitch up, and that's going to be a ball. Ryan had his first at-bat back in the 2nd inning, induced a walk, and stayed at first base, in fact, at that point. Now Jacob Freer, 2nd baseman, has got pretty good speed, but a pretty small lead at the moment as quick pickoff move. Especially with that lefty pickoff move, it can sometimes be tricky to see it if you're a runner on first.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And good thing his lead wasn't too big, because he definitely took a quick jump step towards second base before retreating back. If his lead was bigger, could have been picked off.
Looked like a changeup there, 80 miles per hour on the outside part of the plate. 2-0 the count. Yeah, there's definitely that gray area for a lefty pitcher where you can kind of maybe have like a 45-degree angle that you throw towards first base, and you can get away with that not being called a balk. Pitch in by Decker, and this ball's flown out to center field. First step back for Kendlinger, but ranges in to make the catch. So 1 out in the inning for the Oaks. So Jax Ryan is retired here for the first out of this inning, and meanwhile it's going to be Cody Turner, who started off as the DH in this game, now is a pitcher, but also hitting in the game. So a bit of a Shohei Ohtani going on here.
And, we mentioned his last time up. He had a good season last year, and in fact, 48% of his hits last season at Antelope Valley College were for extra base hits. And his first season there at Antelope Valley College, exactly half of his hits were extra base hits. 36 extra base hits out of 72 total.
I mean, that's just incredible. And, of course, 11 home runs this past season at Antelope Valley to add to the damage. Certainly a big guy. Runner on the move, and a throw down to second base, and the tag by Hewitt. And he's not going to get him. So just like that, Jacob Freer able to swipe second base on that lefty pitcher.
Good jump there, going first move. And he mentioned just before that, Cody Turner, big guy, 6'2", 206 pounds. But despite that, got some pretty good wheels. He actually legged out 11 triples in his freshman season and 5 last season for a career total of 16.
That's pretty incredible, and a huge cut, swing and a miss. Trying to send that one into the Children's Center past right field. Certainly that netting there protecting a lot of the kiddies. So 1-2 the count. 1 out in the inning. Runner on second base for Jacob Freer, who's the runner. Cody Turner taking this ball, and it gets away from Galloway behind the plate. That one's going to be called a wild pitch as Freer advances to third base, and it's really those little mistakes that are going to kill you.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Freer taking second with the stolen base, and that wild pitch, ball in the dirt, gets him up to third for free. No offensive production out of the Saints to get him over there, and just, cruising 180 feet to the other corner base, getting 90 feet away from scoring. Definitely valuable stuff.
Yeah, the Saints would love to get a run on the board, but that wild pitch had a little extra mustard on it. Ground ball to the left side, and a really good reach there by Jonah Dawson. Throws to first to get Turner out. So that's going to be the second out of the inning. Meanwhile, Freer is going to score, so it's a 2-1 game. Saints are on the board.
Yeah, and an incredible play there by Jonah Dawson. Like leaping up to his left side, full extension, making the snag, and then throwing across to first. But again, good job there by Turner just to put the ball in play. You get that run across, and you put the pressure on the defense. That one very easily could have gone for an error, but a great play by Dawson prevents that.
Yeah, definitely a very good defensive play to get that second out of the inning. Meanwhile, there is a little bit of a conference happening between the home plate umpire and David Solis, the head coach for the Conejo Oaks. Having a bit of a spirited conversation, and I'm not quite sure what this is about.
Yeah, there's not much it really can be about. I mean, it was an out called at first, and again, very athletic play by Jonah Dawson. That one very easily could have gotten away from him, but he made a stellar play to prevent any sort of base runner on first. Maybe they're calling for some sort of interference or something. I'm not too sure what's going on.
Yeah, and perhaps maybe a little bit of conflicting viewpoints here as have a little umpire conference in front of home plate. Meanwhile, EDM music playing here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. Now, of course, during batting practice, you hear a lot of country music. Aaron Milam, of course, the head coach, loves his country. So meanwhile here, trying to get this audience pumped up with 2 outs. And, I mean, at this point, I'm still not quite sure what the consideration is about. I mean, certainly Cody Turner, of course, was the DH and turned into the pitcher, so I don't think the consideration is there, but perhaps, to your point, talking about catcher's interference, and really, it's going to be the base umpires to make that call.
Yeah, and, the only really thing that could cross my mind as to what, the Oaks would want to get out of this play is taking that run off the board in some sort of manner, but I'm not really sure how that really could happen. It's just interesting to note, what this whole mound meeting is about. But then before the umpires converged, it was a very animated conversation between the Oaks head coach and the home plate umpire. Definitely a little bit of heat exchanged as well.
Yeah, definitely not something you see on a first date, let alone in a casual conversation, as looks like we're going to find out whether the umpire swiped right here on David Solis, or rather perhaps maybe understanding if there was some type of interference or otherwise. As it appears, J.J. Kennett, who is about to come up here for the Saints, now heading back to the on-deck circle. Meanwhile, the home plate umpire now speaking to third base coach, or rather one of the coach. It looks like possibly Matt Stone, or actually, it might actually be Aaron Milam. So still not quite sure what is going on. Meanwhile, Decker on the mound through a warm-up pitch, and now there's 2 umpire conferences happening. So maybe, add drama to drama, huh?
Maybe it's something to do with the fact that Cody Turner came into pitch, and then Saints brought in a new pitcher in Brady Nelson, but then Cody Turner retaining his spot at the designated hitter. Maybe there's some sort of rule between, if you check in as a pitcher when you're already the designated hitter, then you can't re-enter as a designated hitter, maybe something along those lines. To be honest, it's very interesting to note, but a big stall out in this game now. We were moving really quickly through this game. I mean, in just over an hour, we're already through the first 4. Now it looks like they're conversating back again with the Oaks.
Yeah, in fact, Milam now chirping over at that first base umpire, and the home plate umpire now taking a stroll over to, maybe calm down the other umpire. This is one of the strangest situations I've seen by an umpire conversation in a while. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but I think at this point, certainly we can just talk about how nice this day is in the meantime. Look, we've got a pretty decent crowd here, at least by relative standards here for a game, and temperatures right around 70 degrees. And as we were kind of walking around the field earlier today, it certainly was nice to see just the fact that it's not going to be burning out here this evening.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of what you get when you come into Southern California, is you can expect that beautiful weather. Sometimes, you know, it does get very hot, but especially, you know, during the early summer here in, you know, late June and coming into early July, you know, weather's obviously extremely nice. And here in Pasadena, beautiful night, couple fans out in the stands tonight, you know, enjoying a baseball game. Nothing better to do on a Saturday night, a summer night is what I meant to say with that. I don't know how I mixed in a day with that, but
maybe it feels like a weekend.
Maybe, but summer night, you know, nothing better than a baseball game.
Absolutely. A nice Tuesday evening here in Pasadena, and I was just in Omaha for the College World Series, and I mean, just to talk about how humid the weather was. Temperatures were around 85 degrees, but humidity for that first game against Murray State, a 1 p.m. start against UCLA, 85% humidity. So talk about wet bulb temperatures really rearing their heads. Meanwhile, here in Pasadena, and certainly in LA in general, you love to see that dry heat. I mean, it's really not going to get you too bad. And I mean, to that point, I mean, the humidity at the moment is actually at 65%. However, temperatures are expected to get down into the low 60s. So it should be a nice overall weekend here, and certainly rest of the week here in Pasadena. And we're going to take a quick break here and figure out what is going on, and we'll get back to you with more action here from Jackie Robinson Memorial Field right after this. So back here after a quick commercial break, and man, there is just continued drama here as it looks like they brought out the rule book. What do you think is going on?
I mean, first base umpire retreated, you know, out of our vision here from our press booth and came back onto the field right in front of the Oaks dugout with what looks to be a official rule book, and they're still having a conversation with the Oaks head coach. Looks like they're going to find the official ruling on whatever it is that they're arguing.
I mean, I have not seen that, but certainly a lot of bookworm umpires here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. And, I mean, certainly head coach for the Oaks, David Solis, I imagine that this is probably related to that Cody Turner DH turn pitcher situation, as he was the last one that was up on that last at-bat when he grounded out to third base, 5-3 the put-out. And really, we've stalled at this point. I mean, we were, to your point earlier, we were cruising, and I mean, now we've been here at a break for probably about 10 minutes.
Yeah, somewhere around there. It looks like we have some sort of official decision here.
Looks like we're going to potentially have some information here for you in a second. They asked the booth here to cut the music.
And the home plate umpire on his way from the Oaks dugout to the Saints dugout made some sort of hand signal up here to the booth. And I don't think that was to cut the music. It looked like something else maybe, but we're still unsure.
Yeah, meanwhile, Decker, the pitcher for the Oaks, is back to warming up on the mound. Meanwhile, a baby shrieking in the crowd as he wants the play to continue. At least that's what I imagine the baby was thinking. Either way, the umpire is now heading back towards home plate. Still looks like that third base umpire talking to Aaron Milam, and it looks like they're about to continue this inning. So I don't think anything changed there.
Didn't look like it, and, you know, nothing seems to be different. Nothing seems to have changed. Just a big stall out here in this game, and, you know, maybe we'll never know.
Maybe we won't. And maybe at the very least a little literature break here for the umpires who wanted to get a quick little bit of reading in. Certainly on a Tuesday afternoon, love to break out the Kindle and get some reading going. And we're back to play here. Certainly baseball full of excitement, but this time a little bit of literature. So Cody Turner was the last one that was up to plate, had that 5-3 ground out. Nobody on, and now it's J.J. Kennett up to hit here with 2 outs. Off-speed pitch in there for a strike. So Decker back at it. Certainly has been throwing a lot of strikes at the moment. He's at 44 pitches, 31 of them are strikes. Pitch in on the outside part of the plate. Ball 1. Kennett back in the second inning, flew out to right field on a 1-1 count. That was the the second out of the second inning. And a well-hit ball up the middle and an easy single. So after a long break between play, Saints get a runner on.
Goes right back to where it came from. Elevated pitch up in the zone and just puts good barrel right into shallow center field.
And a good way to get back on the base paths, and it looks like we're going to see a pinch hitter here. It's going to be Joey Milto, left-handed bat for the Arroyo Seco Saints, in to replace Noah Williams in that 8th spot. Milto, a pretty common presence in this lineup, and certainly has been hitting the ball extremely well. A native of Greenwood, Indiana. Had a pretty good season for Bellarmine U. First pitch swinging, hits this ball to the left side, and that's going to drop. A bit of a dinker shot. Not a lot of mustard on that one, but able to get that one to flourish into left field for a single.
Coming in, first pitch swinging, being efficient with it, but taking the place of Noah Williams, who, like we mentioned, in the lineup for the first time since June 11th, after he exited a game when sliding into third base. And now that you had mentioned that previously, Sid, when we were walking around pregame today, I had seen Noah Williams in the athletic trainer's tent getting some work done on his foot. So hopefully all is well with him, and it's not something that's still going to continue to bother him as this season progresses.
Yeah, hopefully so on his behalf, as certainly the summer season is important for a lot of players' development. That's going to bring up Gannon Snyder, the right-handed bat, and he hits this ball pretty well to left field, but right at Jax Jimenez to get the final out of the inning. So a bit of a wild inning, but the Oaks able to score 1 inning and cut that lead in half. Oaks coming up to hit 2-1 the score. Back here in Pasadena after a really interesting inning. And did we get any information on what happened there that past inning?
It seems like it was something to do with the fact that Cody Turner started this game in the designated hitter role, then was checked in on the mound as a pitcher, then technically exited the game as a pitcher, and therefore he would be out of the lineup and unable to re-enter. And then after his at-bat, the Oaks coaching staff brought that to the umpire's attention. But after an official rulebook citing and checking and literacy break, as you called it, Sid, doesn't seem like much has changed. Besides the fact that the Saints defense has had a little mix around. Gannon Snyder is now sliding over to left. Lane Hayworth is sliding into center field. And it looks like Joey Milto checks in to right field after he took the spot of Noah Williams.
And there you go. Definitely a lot of defensive arrangements here that are certainly getting updated for you. So we're going to start here, the top of the 5th inning, 2-1 the score. And meanwhile, it's going to be Lucas Danielewicz to lead off the inning, the 3-4-5 heart of the order here. About to hit for the Oaks. Shadows basically covering the entire infield, as the first pitch in is an 87-mile-per-hour fastball on the outside for a ball. So 1-0 the count on Danielewicz, who walked in his last plate appearance and came all the way around to score. Overhand delivery and the pitch. Fastball down the middle. And this ball hit pretty well to center, and a bit of a detour on his route there in center field. Hayworth able to make the catch.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a misread. Hayworth started coming in before realizing that ball was hanging up a little bit too much, and he had to retreat back a couple steps, but still makes the grab and gets the first out.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Hayworth now playing in center field. Gannon Snyder, the right fielder, now shifted over to left, and Milto in right field. So that brings up Devin Wilkes, lefty hitter, lefty power hitter at that, as he takes a fastball up for ball 1. Now Wilkes had a walk also back in the 3rd inning and got all the way to third base but could not score. Fastball, good run on it on that fastball. Swing and a miss, 1-1. And certainly that late movement certainly helps a pitcher. So 1-1 the count on Wilkes. Big lefty bat swings, and this ball hit way up in the air. Call it a moonshot here in the evening sky. And Milto makes the catch for the second out of the inning.
You know, you had just mentioned the shadows, Sid, but one of the only places not almost fully covered in shadows is right field. There's almost none out there as of this point. So Milto definitely fought a little bit of the sun there when tracking that one down, but still makes the grab.
And certainly a good job there of being able to block out the sun. Certainly not easy in the outfield with the way the field is oriented here, right next to the Rose Bowl. So Wilkes retired. Now it's Tyler Hawley stepping in, the right-handed batter. Kennett behind the plate trying to frame that pitch on the outside. A 73-mile-per-hour breaking ball with nearly 20 inches of break. 1-0 the count. 2 outs here. 2-1 the score. The Oaks up still in the 5th inning. Another off-speed pitch on the outside part taken for a ball, and in fact, an easy take. And now 2 pitches on the outside. What's kind of your approach here if you're on the mound?
Got to just find a way back into the zone, but again, 2-0 pitch. As a hitter, you're looking for that one that you can crush, so you got to try and nibble corners, if you will. Try and get something in the zone, but not too good for the hitter.
Certainly finding a little trouble doing that at the moment as he falls behind 3-0. That's Brady Nelson on the mound. Appears to have a little mustache on the mound to add some flavor to this outing. And a fastball down at the shins for a ball. So a 4-pitch walk here to Tyler Hawley, who finds his way onto first base on the free pass. So 2 outs in the inning. Just approach 7:30 time-wise here in Pasadena. Now Tyler Hawley, first baseman, who now is on first base, in fact, getting held on by Jack Little. And that brings up Jacob Galloway. Had a single back in the 3rd inning. First pitch, a fastball at 85, taken for a strike at the knees. Yeah, to reference how he's been doing so far, had a 3-1 put out back in the 1st inning, followed by that single that I referenced in the 1st where he took that ball down the right field line. Nelson looking the runner back, takes a deep breath, and the pitch. Fastball down at the knees, taken for a strike, gets the call. 0-2 the count here on Galloway.
Must have just been something about Tyler Hawley that Brady Nelson didn't like. 4-pitch walk to him, but now quickly ahead 0-2.
Yeah, maybe just doesn't like the guy. You never know. Certainly, tensions have flared on this field before. Maybe a little beef. Fastball on the outside part of the plate, and of course I'm joking, but it is fun to think that in a summer league game you have some beef.
Yeah, it's a time to really just kind of stay in shape, you know, get some good reps, have fun, especially. It's summer. You're playing baseball. Nothing better really to be doing. And, you know, we have seen a couple of tempers flare.
Absolutely have. Certainly referenced that Santa Barbara Foresters game that happened here earlier on in the season as that ball's fouled back 1-2. And, I mean, there were, 5 hit by pitches in that game. On a throw down to second, a pitcher was hit in the head. 2 coaches were thrown out on the Saints side and perhaps even on the Foresters side. I mean, that was a pretty exciting game.
There was a player even ejected from the Foresters side from chirping one of the Saints defenders.
Yeah, I mean, talk about an argument. Off-speed pitch, and that ball just foul past the diving Jack Little. That ball maybe foul by about 6 inches. Hit hard off the bat as well on that off-speed pitch.
Yeah, off the bat, it definitely looked like it was going to be a fair ball just inside the bag, but hooked right over the top of it and in foul territory.
So we reset here, 1-2 the count. That's Tyler Hawley on first base as the runner, medium-sized lead. Jacob Galloway at the plate, the catcher, and the pitch. Ball hit pretty well to right field. This one's headed back to right center field, and this ball is out of here. Hasta luego, says Jacob Galloway. A 2-run home run. And just like that, the Oaks are up 4-1.
Just a beautiful swing. Puts a lot behind it. And a high fly ball into right field. Looked like it had a chance to stay in the yard for a second, but just kept carrying, hit off the net. Now Oaks take a big lead.
Yeah, and that was a really well-hit home run. I mean, the wind here at the field is trending towards left field, so he hit it against the wind and was able to get that home run on an off-speed pitch down and in. So 4-1 ball game here. Brady Nelson inducing that home run here. And the Oaks have certainly been productive. Scored a run back in the first, then another one in the third, then 2 here on that 2-run home run. That was a projected 372-foot home run, 93 miles per hour off the bat on a fastball. And, I mean, just talk about power. I mean, he got all of that one.
Yeah, that one definitely off the bat was well hit. Didn't necessarily look like it was going to carry out of the yard at first, but as it reached its apex, there was no doubt that one was going to hit off the screen.
1-1 count here to Brady Hewitt, number 20 in the shortstop for the Oaks. As Nelson on the mound, finding himself behind in the count yet again, 2-1 with 2 outs here, as now the sun is officially set on the field. Swing and a miss on that high fastball. 2-2, and so 2-2 count, 2 outs. What do you like to call that?
We call that the deuces wild around here.
Okay, well there you go, deuces wild. And certainly Nelson would like to get off the mound after a wild inning. Off-speed pitch, fouled off the Saints railing on their dugout down the third base line. So we'll reset here, and one more deuces wild indeed. 4-1 ball game. Oaks have been ahead the entire game, but the Saints were able to claw back 1 run in the 4th inning. Pitch and a swing and a miss for the strikeout to end the inning. But not after Jacob Galloway hit a 2-run home run, 372 feet to right center field. And just like that, the Conejo Oaks are up 4-1 as we enter the bottom of the 5th. Back here in the bottom of the fifth, in Pasadena, and this game has become a 4-1 ball game. Meanwhile, Charlie Decker, the left-handed undersized pitcher, has had an excellent game so far.
Yeah, so far coming out for his 5th inning of work and through his first 4, giving up 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts.
Now, you can't ask for much more out of your starting pitcher, and certainly the Oaks are appreciating that. And the first pitch in here to the lefty, Lane Hayworth. 1-2-3 set to come up this inning here in the bottom of the 5th as he takes a off-speed pitch that gets to the backstop, 1-0. Another breaking ball in there, 75 miles per hour on the gun, also low, 2-0. Lights are on now here at Jackie Robinson Memorial Field as the sun is nowhere to be found except in the sky. Fastball, 883, fouled off. Two and 1 the count as the infield here was shifted off to the right side. Ethan Gonzalez, the second baseman, playing in the hole. Meanwhile, shortstop Brady Hewitt playing closer to behind the bag. Outfield playing relatively standard, and the wind has completely calmed down here. Another breaking ball, third one in fact. 3-1 the count. Now Hayworth struck out back in the 3rd inning. Back in the 1st, he flew out to center field. The pitch. Oh! And that one was what we call an ugly finder. Went right into that first base dugout. The Conejo Oaks, I saw one player, number 22, did a little limbo move there to try and get out of the way. Just inches away from hitting his bottom. So 3-2 the count. And a swing and a miss for the strikeout. And that's a quick way to start the inning on the mound for Decker, who continues to get a lot of strikeouts.
Yeah, still stays very efficient. Ironic that you call that one an ugly finder as well, Sid. Just last half inning, a foul ball headed over towards the Saints dugout, and that's exactly what somebody in the Oaks dugout yelled out was that ugly finder call.
Well, there you go. A little bit of retribution happening. Certainly, maybe not a rivalry being a summer baseball game, but hey, you'll try. At least for a little drama as Trotter Enright here swings and fouls off the first pitch. So it's going to be 0-1. Now Enright back in the 3rd inning, had a single to center field. Left-handed batter facing a left-handed pitcher in Decker as this ball's in the dirt, ball 2. 1-1 the count with 1 out. That first pitch in there for a strike on that foul ball. 4-1 ball game here in Pasadena. Light breeze to left field. Once again, infield shifted to the right slightly. And the pitch. Ground ball on that off-speed pitch. Just dribbled over to the right side this time. Not striking any players. In fact, a nice little barehanded play made there by one of the Oaks in the dugout. 1-2 the count. Quite a bit of pesto on these off-speed pitches, perhaps mustard. Another off-speed pitch fouled off to the left side. You have a favorite condiment?
Great question, Sid. I mean, it obviously depends on what you're putting that condiment on. But if we're talking, the traditional hot dog, you can't ever go wrong with ketchup.
Well, there you go. Ketchup is the tried and true. Of course, you always got your relish and your sauerkraut if you're more of a tangy person, as this ball's in the dirt. 2-2 the count. There's something about ballpark food. I mean, obviously, like popcorn, the smell of that when you're at the stadium is always great. Hot dogs, of course. Just a grill going, and I think especially with summer baseball, you got to love just the environment that baseball can bring. Decker set at the belt, and the pitch fouled back, and that one gets caught in the fence. So the fence with a good catch, and this is not banana ball, so that ball is going to not be called an out on that web gem by the fence. So 2-2 the count, 1 out in the inning. Decker the pitch. Looked like 83 miles per hour on the gun on the outside part of the plate. And it's going to be back to a full count here. Defense kind of staying put in center field. Kendlinger playing slightly deep in left field. Jimenez playing relatively shallow. Off-speed pitch on the inside part of the plate. Enright takes ball 4. So now Trotter Enright ends up getting to first base on that walk. And now it's going to be Jack Little, right-handed power bat in the 3-hole for the Saints. As he looks to that third base coach Aaron Milam for some signs here with 1 out. Certainly might see some motion.
Yeah, Trotter Enright, definitely a guy who's capable of stealing bags.
And he does indeed. And the throw down to second base by Galloway. And they got him. Excellent pop time from Jacob Galloway to throw out Trotter Enright, who now jogs back to the dugout, and that was just a perfect catch and release.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Galloway had it. Fastball on the top of the zone. Perfect pitch out. Grabs it, throws down, and the brand new Beaver in Jacob Galloway erases Trotter Enright from the base paths.
Yeah, certainly an accomplished player, as you mentioned. Playing for Oregon State this upcoming season, recently committed. And it looks like that's going to be a ball. 2-0 the count on that fastball on the inside part of the plate at 83 miles per hour. 2 outs now in the inning on that caught stealing, courtesy of Jacob Galloway, throwing out Trotter Enright. Swing, and this ball's hit to the gap. Left center field, and this one's going to drop. Little rounds first and heads to second, and that's going to be an easy stand-up double. Prevented from getting to the wall by Jimenez, but yet another runner in scoring position and a chance for the Saints to get a run on the board here with 2 outs.
Yeah, now you kind of look back at that stolen base call of Trotter Enright and think, well, potentially if we hadn't sent in, there would be 1 out with that ball in play. Could that have scored Enright? He would have likely been standing right near second base just in case it was caught. So he definitely would have moved up to at least third, potentially could have come around to score and help the Saints chip away at this lead, but nonetheless, great piece of hitting.
Yeah, certainly a good piece of hitting, and to your point, that's situational baseball at its finest. The what if of whether Enright was not caught stealing, that would have been another run on the board. So that brings up Jacob Freer, left-handed batter, and the 4-hitter for the Saints. Runner on second base. Decker looks to second, in the pitch in the dirt. A curveball for a ball. So 1-0 the count. Freer earlier in the game grounded out in the first inning. Followed up with a single to right center field back in the 4th. Here in the bottom of the 5th inning, so right at midpoint here in this game. Fastball at 83. Down at the knees, perhaps a little bit low maybe, but given the strike.
Yeah, Freer definitely didn't think that one got in there, but home plate umpire did, and that's the only opinion that matters.
Yeah, he is the law, and they'll bring out the literature to prove it. As here Decker takes the pitch, and this ball is hit, and that ball's fair down the right side. Tyler Hawley able to make the 3 unassisted for the out. So the Saints sacrifice that runner on second base, not able to get that score in. And the score remains exactly where it was, 4-1. Conejo Oaks coming up here in the 6th. Back here to start the top of the 6th inning, and a quick pitching change here for the Arroyo Seco Saints. They turn to the 6'3", 220 right-hander, Ethan Moran. And he comes in, just had his freshman season at Fullerton College. Had a pretty good season for them. ERA around 3.86. And certainly here, just trying to give length to the Saints pitching staff.
Yeah, and so far this summer with a 3 ERA, he's got 3 appearances, all of which in relief. He's pitched exactly 1 inning in all 3 of those. 1 strikeout, 3 hits, and only 1 earned run coming across to score against Moran.
Yeah, and he comes into a game where the Saints are down by 3, and he would love to keep them exactly at that deficit. Certainly would not want to have the Oaks get any runners on here in this inning, and he's going to face 8-9-1 Jonah Dawson, Ethan Gonzalez, and Tommy Kendlinger to start off this inning. And to kind of reference his line at Fullerton College this past year, through 49 innings, 32 strikeouts, started 6 games, but also secured a save, so was used in multiple capacities. Starts in the stretch, and the pitch. And, oh my gosh. Now that ball, yeah, that was a flying saucer right at his nog. So a 1-0 count. And really a dramatic way to start this inning on the mound.
Yeah, just a bit high and inside, you could say.
Yeah, to quote the late great Bob Uecker. Another pitch, ground ball to the left side. Ryan makes the throw over to first base. Quick first out. So 5-3 put out here to get the first out of the inning for Ethan Moran on the mound. So Jonah Dawson retired here to start this inning. Of course, we are in the top of the 6th. The Oaks scored back in the 5th inning, a 2-spot courtesy of that home run from Jacob Galloway, and that might prove to be a very important 2 runs with that 3-run lead now, giving them a little bit of insurance. Ground ball to the left side, chopped foul. Nice little bare hand play made by third base coach David Solis as he just tucks that one into his back pocket. So we'll reset here, 0-1 the count. Beautiful night here in Pasadena, brought to you by Planet Earth. Planet Earth, the official planet of your Arroyo Seco Saints. Pitch in from Moran. Slider on the outside part of the plate. 0-2 the count. Dawson has 2 strikeouts already in the game. Struck out swinging in the 2nd, then struck out looking in the 3rd. Excuse me, this is Ethan Gonzalez at the plate. But regardless, had that strikeout back in the 2nd, and then a single in the 4th. So a 1-2 count. One out in the inning. Ball hits a right field. Milto ranges back, makes the catch, and a quick out number 2.
Moran ends up winning the battle of the Ethans. Ethan Moran taking on Ethan Gonzalez. Moran comes out on top.
Yeah, love that. Ethan versus Ethan. Only one will survive. In this case, it was Moran who had the winning punch. So now back up to the top of this lineup. Top of the order now. And it's going to be the 4th time through the order, in fact. Tommy Kendlinger up here to hit. Here in the top of the 6th inning. Squares around a bunt. Jax Ryan, the third baseman, was playing pretty far back behind third base, but that ball was ruled a foul ball, looks like. So 0-1 the count. Moran gets a new ball and rubs this one up on the mound. Yeah, it's pretty cool, the baseballs they actually have here for the CCL. They are officially branded, have interesting colored seams, and in fact even have the Arroyo Seco Saints logo on the baseball. Off-speed pitch hit to center field. Hayworth, ranging to his left, makes the catch to end the inning. So Moran gets a quick little 1-2-3 inning, and the score remains 4-1 Oaks, with the Saints coming up here in the bottom of the 6th.
All right, hello and welcome everyone live from Jackie Robinson Field here in Pasadena. Evan Davis joined alongside Adam Beck, and it's the home opener for the Arroyo Seco Saints. Looks like it will hit into the gap. Yes, it will, and it will score a run off the glove of Pollock. That will score two. It's quickly 4-0 top of the first inning for the Oaks. 3-1 offering, low and away for ball four, and that will bring in the first run of the game. It's outside, ball four. Fisher stumbling off the mound, and the Saints just finding any way possible to get some runs, and they've now walked in two with the Saints as a pass ball gets away. 5-2 lead for the Oaks. 2-1 offering, that one down the third base. Beltowski will fire that one across. And one out now, but the runners advance to now be 5-3. First and second as they connect again. Rio didn't get a great read on that, and it's over his head. Ground roll double, and this game is tied. The 1-1 offering is connected on. That's in the left field, and that'll do it. The Saints come back down 5-2.
Riley.
Okay.
Back here in the bottom of the 6th inning, and we've got a new pitcher. Charlie Decker had a pretty good start here. And it's going to be Max Strickland coming in. And, I mean, the one thing about him that I see quite immediately, 2 2/3 innings pitched, but 13 walks.
Yeah, the Aussie from Australia. The Australian has pitched 1 inning against the Saints already this year. He gave up 2 walks in just that 1 inning. But 13 walks in 2 2/3 innings, recording just 1 strikeout. That 1 strikeout did come against our Saints, and he's given up 6 hits as well for a total combined season ERA of 47.25.
Yeah, that's a pretty wild stat there just for that walk number alone. And so just like that, after a quick 1-2-3 inning by Ethan Moran on the Saints side while they were on the field, meanwhile, Max Strickland comes in here, and he would love to get a similar 1-2-3 inning. And he's going to see the 5, 6, 7 of this lineup, Jax Ryan, Cody Turner, and J.J. Kennett here in this inning.
Obviously, Strickland going to have to avoid those control issues, and he's gotten better as the season's progressed. He started things out in his first outing against the Foresters with 5, and his next one 4, and then the previous 2 since then have just been at 2.
Yeah, certainly we'll see if those control issues flare up. First pitch swinging by Jax Ryan, a chopper to the left side. Dawson throws over to first, and does he keep his foot on the bag? He does. Tyler Hawley making a acrobatic stretch there like a gymnast for the first out, that 5-3 putout.
That one a little bit of third baseman on third baseman, number 10 on number 10 action. Jonah Dawson gets the best of Jax Ryan.
Now, that is a lot of similarities between two players, and you love to see it. And so the Oaks able to get that first out of the inning, and certainly Strickland would love to continue that with a 1-2-3 inning here against Cody Turner. Fastball in there at 89 miles per hour for a strike.
Not only that, another similarity, both guys who could have 2 first names in their name, Jax Ryan and Jonah Dawson. All 4 of those names could go for a first name.
How about that? I mean, first name, first name, first name, first name, to put it very specifically, as that fastball in on the inside part of the plate. So a 1-1 count to Cody Turner, who struck out looking in the second inning, then a 5-3 putout back in the fourth. So coming up here for his third at-bat of the game here in the bottom of the 6th. 4-1 the score. Oaks still up. Swing, and oh my gosh, that one almost tagged Aaron Milam, third base coach and head coach of the Arroyo Seco Saints. A bit of a ugly finder, but he was able to navigate his way around that one.
Yeah, very hard hit ball the other way. That's impressive stuff coming out of Turner in his Saints debut.
Yeah, certainly Saints debut and the first debut of that dramatic beard. Swing, and this one's hit. Maybe a blooper to center field, into shallow center, in fact, as that's Tommy Kendlinger who makes the catch. So an F8 for those of you who are scoring at home for the second out.
And obviously going 0 for 3 in your debut, not ideal, but he's put put good bat on ball so far tonight, and he scored an RBI on that ground out earlier. So all in all, not terrible.
Yeah, all things considered, just getting it done. Now here's J.J. Kennett, right-handed hitter. First pitch swinging off the umpire's mask. Foul ball straight back. Kennett, the backstop here for the Saints, flew out to right field in the second inning and had a single up the middle back in the fourth. Able to make it into scoring position, but was not able to score back in the fourth inning. Now 0-1 the count. Strickland sets up high with his glove, and the pitch. Good slider, 81 miles per hour. Able to tag the outside part of the zone. Looks like it got that bottom right corner. In fact, 0-2 the count. Kennett finds himself in a hole here. Wind is calm in the pitch. And it looked like that ball was tipped off the end of the bat. 0-2 the count. New baseballs headed towards that home plate umpire. Fills up the bags on his belt. Saints would love to get a runner on here, certainly after having that one run come in on the bottom of the fourth inning. That gave them that one run that they have. Score still stands at 4-1. Strickland the pitch. Fastball in at 90 miles per hour even for the strikeout to end the inning. So a quick 1-2-3 inning. Ryan, Turner, and Kennett all struck down in order. Saints still behind by 3. And welcome back here to Jackie Robinson Memorial Field, here at the top of the 7th, 1/2 inning away from stretch time here in Pasadena. Good crowd on hand and even a dog here to watch the game. Certainly excited about seeing a lot of balls around the field. As Ethan Moran continues on the mound, he's going to face Jack Jimenez here in the batter's box. That lefty hitter crouched in the batter's box, squares to bunt. Third baseman Ryan crashing in for ball 1. Now infield continues to play back as they want to prevent no doubles, or prevent a double rather. Keep that ball in the infield, and meanwhile that provides that opportunity for Jimenez to put that ball down. Pitch on the outside part of the plate in at 86 for a ball, 2-0. Jimenez has struck out 3 times in this game. He strikes out 4. He would get the platinum sombrero. Would obviously prefer not to have that happen, but he is ahead so far. Fouls this one straight back at 87 miles per hour. Out of the hand of Ethan Moran. 2-1 the count.
And Moran entered this game just an inning ago and went a clean 3 up, 3 down. Very efficient and looking to do the same here in the 7th.
Absolutely would love to continue that trend. Fastball on the outside gets the call, and that one was way out of the zone. We've got TrackMan data here to illustrate how far out of the zone that was. And that one, to say the least, very outside. So 2-2 the count. Moran gets a gift and evens the count here with no outs. Ground ball to second base, and Freer, quick easy throw, 4-3 put out, 1 away. So Jimenez put away, perhaps given a gift there on that at bat with a ball perhaps that was more outside than anything I have ever seen. So 1 out in the inning. We're here in the top of the 7th with 1 out, and Lucas Danielwitz here at the plate to bat, the 3-hitter. Fastball in for a ball. Danielwitz earlier in this game walked in the 2nd, walked in the 3rd, and flew out in the 5th. Moran set, deals. Fastball hit up the middle, and ranges to his left and right. Spins, throws to first, and he got him! What a throw by the pick by Jack Little, and Trotter Enright with the spin throw to get the out. And I mean, talk about a web gem.
Cue that ESPN music. Dun-na-nut, na-na-nut. Put that one on the Sports Center Top 10.
Yeah, definitely need to send that one in because he had that one not even tailor-made. I mean, that was specifically made for Enright to make at second, or rather behind second base for the out. 2 outs in the inning now. Moran set to get another 1-2-3 inning if he's able to secure it. As now Devin Wilkes fouls that first pitch off to the left, onto the street. And of course, as many of you are aware, I mean, we are right next to the Rose Bowl here in Pasadena, so certainly a lot of great views. And just a really big grass area there, as that ball likely he's just going to find some grass and take a quick little nap. Another foul ball to the left side, and likely this one will hit off the batting facility or the bullpen down the left field line where the Saints warm up. 0-2 the count, and now temperatures dipping slowly. 66 degrees at the moment. Wind is relatively calm, but we've seen it change every so often. Two strikes here. Moran the pitch. Changeup that looks like he just couldn't get on top of this one. 81 mile per hour changeup up at the helmet area. So 1-2 the count. Moran set at the belt. The pitch. Fastball up, 88 miles per hour. So now the count evens up. 2-2 the count with 2 outs here. Wilkes would love to work this into a full count and induce a free pass if he'd like. Freer, the second baseman, playing for the pole, along with Little at first base. And swing and a miss. 88 mile per hour fastball by Ethan Moran, and able to get the 1-2-3 inning. 6 up, 6 down. Moran's looking great. Oaks got to get the bats going here, but they still have that 3-run lead. Back here in Pasadena, bottom of the 7th. And the Arroyo Seco Saints would love to claw back into this game, down 4-1, but they are going to face a new pitcher in number 26, Chris Lozano, 5'9", 190 out of UC Riverside, and a local guy out of Van Nuys.
And just so far, one appearance on this summer. He did get the win in that game, June 18th against the Barons. The Oaks ended up taking that one down 19-6. Lozano got the W in that final decision. He pitched 1 inning, 2 runs, only one of which earned, gave up 4 hits, no walks, 1 strikeout. So not the cleanest of innings, but just clean enough to get the W.
Yeah, and certainly he would love a cleaner outing, certainly here. Yet another undersized pitcher that we've seen from the Oaks. Now that starting pitcher, Charlie Decker, also 5'9". Chris Lozano as well, a 5'9" lefty. So seeing a bit of crafty pitching from them, and it's certainly been successful so far. And that fastball from Lozano will likely see in the upper 80s or so. Meanwhile, he's going to face 8-9-1 of the Saints lineup. That's going to be Joey Milto, Gannon Snyder, followed by the leadoff hitter, Lane Hayworth. So we'll start with Joey Milto here to start this inning. Bottom of the 7th, 4-1 ball game. Now Milto would love to get on board here. That leadoff runner has proven critical. That 1 run they tagged back in the middle innings was also courtesy of a leadoff runner being able to get on to get them in business. First pitch in. Fastball in at 86 miles per hour from Lozano. Strike 1, 0-1 the count.
You mentioned Lozano standing at 5'9", tied for one of the shortest guys on the Oaks roster. There's actually 5 guys listed at 5'9" to make that tie, but not sure how accurate that is, considering Caden Stillwell, an infielder, is listed at 9 foot flat.
You say 9 foot?
9 foot, and that's no joke. It's listed him at 9 foot flat, 190 pounds, so we can't necessarily trust the accurateness all too much.
Now, I would say that is likely the lankiest player I've ever heard of. 9 feet tall, 190. And, I mean, put that guy in a weight regimen, I guess.
I mean, put that guy in an NBA roster.
Absolutely.
Put that guy on the Thunder. He wins the MVP.
I mean, if you're that tall, your strike zone is absolutely insane. And I think you've got bigger problems than playing summer baseball. You're looking to find your way into the record books. Well, regardless, 5'9" or 9 feet tall on the mound. Chris Lozano looking good so far at a 2-2 count on Joey Milto. Bottom of the 7th here, 4-1 ball game. Slider on the outside, taken. Milto able to work this back into a full count, 3-2. Milto attends Bellarmine U in the ASUN Conference. That's the Atlantic Sun Conference. He steps in here for some summer ball at-bats. Dribbles this one to the right side. Hawley tosses it over to the pitcher covering, Lozano, for the putout. 3-1 on that putout and 1 out in the inning.
But great hustle out of Milto. Tried to leg that one out. Saw the potential that he could potentially get himself an infield single and gave his best effort. Unfortunately, it goes down 4 and out. But after some external searching, turns out our Caden Stillwell, our 9 foot, 190 pounder, is actually 6 feet, 190 pounds.
Well, there you go. Just flip that 6 and make it a 9. Or in this case, vice versa. Gannon Snyder steps in, definitely not 9 feet tall, takes this one on the outside part of the plate, 86 miles per hour for a strike. 0-1 the count.
Yeah, Snyder not 9 feet tall, but does wear number 9.
Well, how about that? And also playing the 9 spot on the field, was originally in right field, but now in left, which is now being occupied by Joey Milto, who just had his at-bat a moment ago. 1-1 count. Snyder, a native of St. Louis, Missouri. As we mentioned, he's teammates with Lane Hayworth, who is on deck. And that's got to be pretty cool, playing with a teammate here in the summer away from home. Off the handle as this one gets into center field, and sometimes you don't need to hit the ball hard to get a single, and that's exactly what Snyder did.
Yeah, sometimes it's less about the exit velocity, more about the location. Exactly the case right there for Snyder. Didn't hit it all too hard, but found a spot where the defense wasn't.
And a job well done there, certainly with one out, and that gets the Saints in business, at least with a runner on board. Snyder with pretty good speed as well, being a corner outfielder. And that brings up Lane Hayworth back to the top of the order. Hayworth flew out back in the first, along with 2 Ks in the middle innings, swinging. First pitch swinging, ground ball to shortstop. Bad hop, but able to get it. 6-4-3. And that's a double play to end the inning. So that one-out runner doesn't prove costly at all on the mound for Chris Lozano. And just like that, time to stretch here in Pasadena. 8th inning coming up, still 4-1 Oaks.
All right, hello and welcome everyone live from Jackie Robinson Field here in Pasadena. Evan Davis joined alongside Adam Beck, and it's the home opener for the Arroyo Seco Saints. Looks like it will hit into the gap. Yes, it will, and it'll score a run off the glove of Pollock. That will score 2. It's quickly 4-0 at the top of the first inning for the Oaks. 3-1 offering, low and away for ball 4, and that will bring in the first run of the games outside. Ball 4. Fisher stumbling on the mound, and the Saints just finding any way possible to get some runs, and they've now walked in 2 with the Saints as a pass ball gets away. 5-2 lead for the Oaks. 2-1 offering, that one down the third base. Beltowski will fire that one across. And 1 out now, but the runners advance to now be 5-3. First and second as they connect again. Rio did get a great read on that, and it's over his head. Ground roll double, and this game is tied. The 1-1 offering is connected on. That's in the left field, and that'll do it. The Saints come back down 5-2, and Peter Wirth walks it off.
How about a 4 spot by the Oaks to start things off in the first inning? And how about a 4 spot in the bottom of the 9th for the Saints to end things in the 9th?
The game continuing to move at a brisk pace following that quick pause in the action earlier in the middle innings, as we get a new pitcher here, the 4th one in fact for the Arroyo Seco Saints, and it's going to be Cade Schumard, lefty pitcher out of New Mexico State University, coming in for the Saints.
Making his 4th appearance on the year. He's got 2 starts as well. He actually got the opening night start all the way back on June 6th against the San Diego Waves. He pitched 2 innings, gave up no runs, 2 hits, and just 1 walk. Since then, he's got an ERA of 6.75, pitched 4 total innings on the season, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks, 8 hits.
Well, there you go. Definitely a good report on Cade Schumard, courtesy of Riley Horn. Sid Iyer here alongside for this game between the Oaks and the Saints. 4-1 score here in the late innings as we start the top of the 8th. First pitch in from Schumard, and swung on and hit to center field, way up in the air, and moving under it is Hayworth, who makes the catch, and F8 to start off the 8th inning.
And we continue to move at a swift pace. We are just over the 2-hour mark, and we are already in the 8th inning. This might be one of the quickest games we've seen so far all season.
Yeah, especially considering we do not have a pitch clock here at the CCL. It is definitely noteworthy, especially considering the fact we have seen a 4-hour game on this field.
Yeah, we've seen a game that's gone until the lights turn out at 10 o'clock.
Very dramatic indeed. Very much let there be light, but in that case, the light was taken away. So with that first fly out there, rather, on Tyler Hawley, it's going to be Jacob Galloway at the plate, who takes that first pitch in for a strike. Another strike, and looks like that one was down at the knees at 92 miles per hour. Good velocity. And Schumard works quick on the mound. He was immediately set to throw this next pitch in on 0-2. Off-speed pitch, and he just missed the outside part of the plate. Some opinions being expressed by the third base dugout. That's the Saints dugout. Looked like the right call, in fact, just off the plate. Wind blowing slightly to left field. Infield playing standard as well as the outfield. Off-speed pitch, and one more time just missed the outside corner. Schumard would have loved to get that one, but he's going to have to put him away swinging at least. Now, you might remember Galloway's had a good game so far. Had a single back in the third and, of course, had that 2-run home run back in the 5th inning to give them a 4-1 lead. Fastball on the outside, got him. Strikeout looking on Jacob Galloway, who has been tough to put away, but they're able to get him there with that K.
And that was just perfect execution from Schumard there. Quick 0-2, then went to 2 breakers on the outer edge and quite literally just missed both of them by a mere inch or two. Then goes to the fastball on the outer edge, gets the called strike 3. Great pitching.
Yeah, very well done indeed. And now it's Brady Hewitt, first pitch swinging, swing and a miss at 91 miles per hour. A spin rate of 24.61. That is incredibly high. Next pitch in, 91, down at the knees. 1-1 the count. Now Hewitt reached base earlier rather in the 2nd inning on an error by Jax Ryan at third base. Fastball in there for a strike. Also popped out to first base along with a swinging strikeout back in the 5th. 1-2 the count. Schumard shakes off a couple of pitches. Out of the windup, he deals. Fouled off to the right. That's got to sting, right? I mean, off of a wood bat where temperatures are a little bit cold. I mean, certainly that might sting your hands, yeah?
No doubt. I mean, at pretty much, if you don't get a perfect barrel, you're going to get a little bit of feedback, but the severity of, the sting obviously increases the lower you go down.
Definitely so, but Hewitt puts a drive into this one, but perhaps a little bit too much lift on it as Snyder makes the catch in left field to end the inning. So a quick 3-up, 3-down inning here in the 8th, and just like that, Saints are back in the dugout trying to get some offense here in the bottom of the 8th. 4-1 still to score. Yet another beautiful evening here in Pasadena. Final warm-up pitches being thrown by a new pitcher coming into the game for the Conejo Oaks, and it's going to be Nathan Hernandez of Biola University. And Riley, what do you got on him?
Yeah, coming out of Biola, he's got a couple teammates on the Saints, Luke Ballantyne and John Iacono specifically. 3 pitchers now in this square-off matchup from Biola. But so far this season, Hernandez, just 2 appearances. He's thrown a total of 3 innings, given up 2 hits, and no earned runs so far. He's done pretty good stuff from the pen.
And certainly they would love to see that continued performance here with a 4-1 lead as Trotter Enright steps in as he takes that pitch up and away for ball 1. For the Saints coming up this inning, it's going to be 2, 3, and 4. Enright, Jack Little, and Jacob Freer at the very least. Fastball in there at 87 miles per hour with a little bit of natural run. Evens the count at 1-1. Enright earlier in the game flew out to left field. Also reached on a walk back in the 5th, but was caught stealing. Off-speed pitch, popped up behind third base. Dawson heading back, and now the shortstop, Hewitt, misses the ball on the dive, and now they throw it into second, and they got him. So he missed that pop-up there. Brady Hewitt, that is, the shortstop for the Saints, but ends up throwing a nice little bullet into second base. Ethan Gonzalez making the tag, and Trotter Enright is erased.
Yeah, you got to appreciate the hustle out of Enright there, trying to leg it out for a double, put himself in the scoring position. But when you're down a couple of runs, you only have 2 innings left to work with, you definitely appreciate the base runners. So in that scenario, not always worth going for that extra 90.
Yeah, and yet another instance of Trotter Enright being aggressive on the base path. So he just referenced how he was caught stealing. And meanwhile, that could have been costly. Could have put them on the board, certainly following Jack Little, who came up back in the 5th inning and hit a double, which likely would have brought in Enright to score. Now Jack Little steps in here, took that first pitch, 1-0. And he's had a good game so far for the Saints. As the pitch comes in, swing to the left side, and that one's going to be foul, Chopper. So we're going to redo this one, and he's going to take his time getting back to the plate. And I think as a hitter, you kind of, when you hit a foul ball and you're already down the baseline, you like to take your time getting back. It kind of ices the pitcher.
Yeah, no doubt about that. There's a couple benefits to it. First of all, it ices the pitcher, like you mentioned to your point, but you know, it also allows yourself to slow down a little bit. You get some more time, take a deep breath, really, you know, dial in your approach for this next pitch incoming. You know, there's a lot of added benefits to really slowing the game down and taking your time, especially, like you mentioned earlier, Sid, without a pitch clock.
That's a very good point, and certainly Little taking full advantage of it. Even took a time to tie his shoes before he picked up his bat, and now, regardless, he's back into the box. 1-0 count. Excuse me, should be 1-1. This one bunted and fouled back. 1-2 the count. And I was referencing how Jack Little has had a very good game so far. 2 hits, including that single back in the 1st, and that double back in the 5th, which was likely the hardest hit ball by the Saints so far in this game. And you even see it in the defensive positioning of the infield as they're swung around slightly to the left to account for the pull. Meanwhile, up the middle, wide open, slightly to the left of second. Slider, got him. Great pitch on that one by Nathan Hernandez, 76 miles per hour, and significant amount of break on that one, 17 inches to get the strikeout looking.
Yeah, Hernandez does it himself on that one. Gets a little bit of help on the first out, but then goes out, gets the second out, and just quickly to go back to that Enright ground out, an at-bat or two ago. Great job by Hewitt, the shortstop, to stay with that play. He dropped the pop fly initially, then fired a strike over to second, and it's good to see him back in the lineup. The last time the Saints and the Oaks played, he took a bad hop off the face on a ground ball, and he actually exited the game. And ironically enough, he's taken a bad hop or two here already tonight, but he's made the play on both of them. Good to see he's back and healthy.
Yeah, definitely the perks and not so much the perks of playing on natural grass and dirt, the bad hops, as this one grounded to second. Freer running down the base path. Throw over to first. Gonzalez to Holly to get the final out here in the 8th. So now we enter the 9th inning after this quick break. 4-1 ball game. Oaks trying to get some more insurance runs here to close this game. And welcome back here to Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. Sid Iyer here alongside Riley Horn on the call for you. We're in the top of the ninth here, and the Saints find themselves down 3 runs, 4-1. And Cade Schumard returns, big lefty on the mound with good velocity. In fact, in his starts, his fastball was in at around 87 to 89, but here in the 8th inning, he was up to 91, 92 or so. And of course, that stat provided to you by Luke and Jay of ours. Data Analytics Department here at the Arroyo Seco Saints. And Joey as well. So we've got a lot of people here putting on really a nice show for you, and definitely appreciate all of their work here to make the Arroyo Seco Saints run. As this ball's lined out to the first baseman here. That was Jonah Dawson, who lined out to Jack Little here to start the 9th inning. So 1 out here in the 9th, exactly how Schumard would love to start this inning. And he's facing 8-9-1, just faced Dawson. That's going to be Ethan Gonzalez here, right-handed hitter. Takes a fastball in at 88. Looks like that one was inside for a ball. So 1-0 the count. Gonzalez struck out in the 2nd inning, singled in the 4th, and then flew out in the middle innings. Hits this ball hard to shortstop and right. Moves over to his left, throws to first. Good stretch there at first base by Jack Little to get the put out. Some good defense here. Quick 2 outs here in the 9th.
Yeah, good defense, and you also got to compliment the pitching. Getting that weak contact, a weak line out, and then a ground ball on the infield. You know, when you're chasing runs, you got to limit the damage as best you can, and that's the best way to do it. Exactly.
1 2/3 innings pitched, 15 pitches, 11 of which have been strikes. So Schumard definitely dealing. Except maybe on that pitch, threw it a little bit outside. Right on cue, in fact. So 1-0 the count on that 89-mile-per-hour fastball, facing now the top of the order in Tommy Kendlinger, who's had a pretty good game. 2 singles, or 2 hits rather, earlier in the game as he takes a strike, 1-1. Had a double back in the 1st, followed by a single in the 2nd, but has also grounded into a double play, 6-4-3 back in the 4th. Fastball here, fouled off to the right side. So 1-2 the count on that 88-mile-per-hour fastball. Schumard, of course, as we referenced back in the 8th inning, had that fastball in the low 90s. Now kind of settling back into that usual velocity range that we see from him out of his starts as he deals. Fastball in there for a strike to get the K looking. Great pitching there by Cade Schumard and good defense behind him. Saints got 3 outs left to go. 4-1 ball game coming up next. A briskly played game here in Pasadena, Jackie Robinson Memorial Field, the home for this CCL matchup. And 3 outs to go for the Saints as they face a new pitcher, and that's going to be Regan Gale from Westmont College. And Riley, what do you got?
Yeah, Regan Gale yet to have a save so far this season, now entering in a save opportunity, looking to get his first one in that statistic. But he's got 2 appearances for 3 total innings, yet to give up a hit, yet to give up a run, and only 1 walk surrendered to 4 strikeouts.
Yeah, this will be the 5th pitcher now for the Oaks coming into this game. And as you mentioned, in line for the save, with this game being a 4-1 ball game. Meanwhile, he is going to face the middle of this order. And of course, he would love to get a quick save here. First pitch swinging by Jax Ryan is back for a strike. So 0-1 the count. Now Ryan, the 5-hitter, so he's going to face 5, 6, 7. Jax Ryan, Cody Turner, and J.J. Kennett. 0-1 the count. Dramatic motion. Now he's set. And the pitch. 82-mile-per-hour slider left up and in. So 1-1 the count. Temperature still at 66 degrees. Slight breeze to left field. Same one that we've seen all game so far. Outfield playing at standard depth. Swing and a miss. Big swing and a miss, in fact, as he wanted to send that one over the lights. And that's going to be a 1-2 count to Jax Ryan. Ryan with that bat resting on his shoulders. Now up and the pitch. Fastball in at 89. And this one ends up in the bleachers for a foul ball as that ball ends up going by. And now a couple of kids going to try and get a souvenir. One of them's going to get it. Or not.
Lost it in the bushes.
Lost it in the bushes. So bushes 1, kids 0. 1-2 the count. And he check swing, peeled to first, and they got him. And I think that was likely the right call. It looked like he might have gone on that one. So a strikeout here to start the inning on the mound for the Oaks.
Yeah, first base umpire definitely had the better angle than we did, but could have definitely gone down as that swing around, if you will. And now Sid, assuming this game stays at the same pace that it is, we are 3 minutes away from hitting that 2.5-hour mark on this game. Our last game on the call together and our only other one was the longest game so far this season. This one might be the quickest.
I mean, that's incredible. I mean, that was a 4-hour game as Cody Turner steps in, takes a ball 1. But, I mean, that was a crazy game. 4 hours, and we've referenced this earlier, where the lights even turned off. And that was the game against the Santa Barbara Foresters that ended up needing to be played at a future date, which I don't believe has been scheduled at this point.
Not as of yet. Unsure of when the next time the Foresters and the Saints meet, but whenever that date is, they will finish the remaining 2 innings and then continue a couple minutes later with the regular scheduled game.
And that was a game where we were still in like the 6th or 7th inning, 3 hours in. Again, there was a lot of drama in that game between the hit by pitches and ejections, etc. And so certainly this is not one of those games. I mean, there was a little bit of drama, and the umpires brought out the literature to do a quick little light reading in the middle of the game, but aside from that, has been pretty brisk. In fact, temperatures, also getting brisk. But meanwhile, dugout for the Saints getting involved here as Cody Turner takes a 4-pitch walk, gets a runner on for the Saints.
Yeah, and that delay that you just mentioned, the official rulebook checking, I mean, that was a 10 to 15 minute delay, and we're still cruising through this game. That delay had to do exactly with the guy who just drew that walk in Cody Turner. Started this game at the designated hitter role, then came in to pitch in relief, then technically exited the game as a pitcher and stayed in the designated hitter role, caused a little debacle, but ultimately we're still here.
Yeah, and certainly two-way players, certainly a little bit more of a commonality, as we're going to see a quick mound visit here from Jacob Galloway, who trots out to the mound to talk to his pitcher. That's Regan Gale, who, of course, is coming in for the save. Does have 1 out in the inning. But, of course, Galloway wanting to make sure that his pitcher is on and has his strategy in place here to get that ground ball, and that's certainly what he wants.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Just a ground ball, double play away, and we've seen a couple double plays so far this game. Now the Oaks looking to turn one final one.
Absolutely, they would love that. Pitch in right now. Fastball down below the knees at 88 miles per hour. So 2-0 the count. Now that walk on Turner, I believe, was a straight 4 balls in a row. So 2 more here, so that would be 6 in a row, I believe. 1 out. Finally gets a strike in, gives a reason for the Oaks dugout to elicit a cheer. So 2-1 the count. Now, of course, bottom of the 9th inning, 4-1 ball game. So a couple of runs still of insurance that the Oaks have to secure this win. Fastball on the inside part of the plate, missed the inside. In fact, 3-1 the count. Now with Turner on and now J.J. Kennett up to bat, Joey Milto would be on deck, which would be the tying score. And it looks like a check swing, and first base umpire says, nuh-uh, you stay right where you are. Now the dugout, in fact, getting a warning from that home plate umpire as they were jawing at that umpire. In fact, it looks like he might have even given him a quick warning as he writes that in his notes there. A little bit of theatrics here.
Yeah, Saints dugout can definitely get animated at times. They've been handed a couple of warnings throughout this season so far, but, just trying to stay in the game and stay on their guys is the key.
Certainly would love to keep that intensity going to stay in this pitcher's head. Of course, that's Gale on the mound, number 24. Runner goes, Turner on the move with that 3-2 count and a ball 4. So now runners on first and second. Saints are cooking, and now Joey Milto coming up to bat.
Yeah, back-to-back walks put runners on, and that's when you're chasing runs, getting that tying run to the plate. Once that guy's there, anything can happen from there. So at this point in the game, there's 1 out in the inning, and Saints have a great opportunity.
Absolutely, they do, especially with one of their best hitters up. And it looks like we're going to actually see a pinch runner at second. And it's going to be Keon Moseni, who does have good wheels at second base. Has played middle infield for the Saints earlier this season. And now it's Joey Milto, one of the best hitters in this lineup. Fastball in at 88. Taken for a ball. So yet another ball thrown in this inning by Gale on the mound, who has really struggled to find the zone.
Yeah, and not the guy you really want to be pitching around. Obviously, it would put the tying run on, but it's also not the guy you want to pitch to. Milto, 367 average with 12 RBIs.
Absolutely production in that lefty bat as he takes another one down low. Ball 2. Now we're going to see a mound visit here. It appears we're going to see pitching coach Scott Rodinsky coming out to the mound. In fact, does not necessarily appear to be David Solis, who would be the head coach coming in if a pitching change were to be made.
Yeah, there's definitely some activity down in the pen as well. You could see a couple balls flying around from in here, but not the spot you want to be in for the Oaks. Tying run at the dish, very much so a hitter's count, and a great opportunity to get in this game in the 9th.
Yeah, definitely a good opportunity indeed. Now a mound visit taking place with a couple of infielders here. And it looks like we're seeing number 36 in the bullpen at the moment, and we'll get you his information here in just a quick second. But just to kind of set the scene one more time, currently the pitcher on the mound, Regan Gale, has struggled to find the zone and now finds runners on first and second, both by way of the free pass. After a quick mound visit by Scott Rodinsky, he finds himself facing Joey Milto, who has definitely emerged as one of the best hitters in this lineup. Looks like we might have some information on that guy in the bullpen.
Not sure if that is the correct number. Number 36 is Nolan Johnson, who is a catcher for the Oaks. We've also seen him play first base in the previous bouts between the Saints and the Oaks. So potentially maybe a little bit of a jersey mix-up or just the wrong number.
Fair enough, and we'll see what ends up happening here. But either way, Gale has struggled to find the zone. Another 3-0 count, and if you're Milto, you'd love to just take this pitch for ball 4, but not quite. Fastball in on the outside part of the plate at 88 miles per hour. So a 3-1 count, a hitter's count, in fact. Now outfield playing pretty deep. In center and right at least. That's Kendlinger in center. Danuwitz in right. Milto at the plate. As a quick step off here by Gale, who wants to reset with his catcher, Jacob Galloway, who has proved to be one of the offensive bats of force for the Oaks, but now he needs to be a backstop of force. First and second, 1 out, 3-1 count. The pitch. Swing and a ground ball to the right side, and this one's going to get to that third baseman, and Holly, 3 unassisted, does move those 2 runners over to second and third. That's going to be Cody Turner at third and J.J. Kennett at second. But 2 outs in the inning, still the tying run at the plate now in the form of Gannon Snyder. Milto with that 3 unassisted put out, or ground out rather, and the put out by Tyler Hawley. So that leaves Gannon Snyder as potentially the last hope for the Arroyo Seco Saints. 4-1 score here with the Oaks up by 3. Runners on second and third, 2 runners in scoring position. First pitch in, a fastball at 87. In there for a strike. Now dugouts both getting pretty loud here. In fact, that one, the Saints dugout didn't like that call. But of course the Oaks, they would love to get a strike or steal one any way they can. In fact, this zone has been relatively inconsistent. 84-mile-per-hour pitch on the outside, strike 2. Crowd getting into it here, and this would be the final out and the final pitch potentially for the Saints against Gannon Snyder. 2 strikes, 2 outs. The pitch, and inside, and oh, that almost got him. And you have to wonder if you want to wear that pitch. Regardless, back to a 1-2 count. Gale still 1 pitch away. Sets at the belt. Fastball, got him. Fastball right on the knees, right at the corner at 88 miles per hour, and that'll do it. And the Conejo Oaks able to secure a win here, 4-1, the victory. And I guess, Riley, when you take a look at what the Oaks did today, I mean, certainly a good offensive show for them with those 4 runs. But, I mean, what was your read of certainly how they played today?
I mean, they definitely got ahead early. They put 1 up in the first, and that was from a double. And then he advanced over to third, and then a single would end up bringing him in. And then they would kind of retain that lead the entire way through. So many times in baseball games, that first team to score most oftentimes is going to come out victorious. And here, so far today for the Oaks, they got ahead first. They would take a 2-0 lead in the third. Saints would never be able to come back for that, even despite out-hitting the Oaks 8-6.
Yeah, and it took 5 pitchers for the Oaks to get the dub. But finally, it was Reagan Gale able to secure the save for the Conejo Oaks. And, of course, they had some offense courtesy of that home run by Jacob Galloway, the catcher, and the backstop for the Oaks back in the 5th inning. Had a good day, all things considered. A single in the 3rd and that 2-run home run in the 5th, where they were able to secure the runs and that insurance runs to get the dub.
Yeah, he ended his day 2 for 4 with a run scored and 3 RBIs. Obviously, one of those RBIs being himself that 1 run scored on that home run. And the brand new Beaver really gets it done for the Oaks as they take down the Saints.
All right, and with that being said, for our producer Gio Camara and our entire Saints staff here, Sid Iyer alongside Riley Horn saying so long from Jackie Robinson Memorial Field. Final score of tonight's game, 4-1 Conejo Oaks. Now the Saints head up to Cal Lutheran tomorrow to play the Conejo Oaks on the road at Sparky Anderson Field. First pitch for tomorrow's game is at 4:30 p.m. But we hope you have a great rest of your night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.